Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of Azeroth. Welcome back to Good Morning Azeroth, your weekly community talk show. My name is Kargoz. The date is April 2nd, 2020. These are trying times, but it is great to be here. My favorite time of the week, hanging out with some of my favorite people on the planet. Dunedain, Defcamp, Melderon. How are you guys?
Excellent. How are you, sir?
Thanks.
Wonderful.
That is great. That is excellent. So, guys, this is GMA 45. It is not our first rodeo. We've been doing this for a hot minute now, and we just want to thank you guys again for always being here for us and watching the show, tuning in, all your support throughout the weeks and years. At this point, it's amazing, and in these trying times, we got to come together, right? Because it's scary stuff outside. Anyway, we're very excited because today is our Burning Crusade special. We were talking about it last week. This week, we're going to attempt to do that. I don't know if any one of us here are super big brain experts on TBC. Maybe you guys are. I'm not. But I did, we all played back in the day and we're all very excited for it. So we are going to try to do as thorough a job as possible of going over just the broad strokes of TBC, the classes, the talents, the zones, all that good stuff. And I think all of us are prepared a little bit to talk on our specific classes, which might be helpful. But let's start with some intros just to warm up. How are you guys, man? You guys hanging in there?
Yeah, man, doing well. It's it sucks outside. People are not working and unemployment skyrocketing, and like you said earlier, like it's shitty. But at least we have this. At least we have video games that doesn't get impacted by this. Unless you can't pay your bills, then it does. And I'm sorry if that's the situation for you. But I think the best thing to do is just kind of hunker down and think about the awesome news that might be coming soon. And I think it's pretty much almost close to guaranteed as we can get at this point.
Dude, I am rocking in my seat. I am so excited for TBC, okay? Let me just say, I think with that recent announcement with the, what would you guys like to see with TBC is pretty much, in my eyes, a 100% guarantee that we're going to see it. That's how I see it. But, I've said this before. You guys have heard me say this. TBC is my favorite iteration of World of Warcraft. It is. It always will be. It's when I got really hardcore into the game. It's when I played the most, and I am super psyched, ready for this, and I could not be happier. Seriously.
Yeah, it's so great to be here, man. Defcamp is infectious, boys. I love these dudes right here, man.
He's moving on his chair,
I'm so excited, man.
I didn't know that though, Defcamp. I didn't know that TBC was your actual favorite. Also,
it is, and sometimes I get some flack for saying it because I'm such a supporter and fan. But I got to be real to myself, man. And here's the thing: I didn't experience as much of Classic as I did TBC. I came into Classic very late, in retail vanilla when it was almost halfway through. So I guess my view is a little skewed in that way, but it's when I truly, truly became a no-life WoW player. You know what I'm saying? So I got really heavy in the rating, really heavy in the arena, I'm just a huge fan of TBC. There's so many classes I want to play, so much I want to do. The list goes on and on. Enough of that, right? Dunedain, let's hear from you.
My week was on the social standpoint, I guess. Nothing happened because we can't do anything. But online, though, I had a lot of fun this week. I played probably way too much video games and participated in your cup. You guys did a great job on the hardcore cup and all the coverage you had. I watched the entire stream after it. I must say, I think you have something great in your hands there, guys. I really enjoyed just watching it, even though I would still enjoy it without being a participant. It was just something really great, and I had the feeling I was watching something like the Hunger Games. It really had that sense, and also, it's not as cruel as the Hunger Games, I suppose, but I had the feeling I watched something like that before, and actually, when I watch the Golf Masters each year, I usually do that. I have the same feeling. It's chill out, just watch what everyone is doing, and see how the progress is going. And then in the end, you have that climax, and things build up, and then everything starts to become really, really interesting. But it's a great watch, man. I hope I can participate more in that. I really enjoyed it. So Good job, guys. All
that
three
makes me
of
so
them.
happy to hear that, Dunedain.
Yeah, it's kind of you to
That's
say,
awesome.
man. Anybody here in the chat watch it or participate? They are a lot of fun, man. Shout out to Melderon and Defcamp for sitting there for that long, too. That's a long haul, right? And that's part
It
of the reason
flew
why we
by.
came to it.
really did. I'm not even joking. It literally flew by, dude. 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was good to be a part of it, man.
I feel
was a lot of fun.
I'm serious here. I feel like it could be something on TV, but people just tuning in and having a great time for 8 hours. I really feel like I was watching the Masters. That's the best.
Maybe BlizzCon one year. Who knows?
Next time.
Hardcore Cup.
Who knows?
We're gonna be on ESPN the Ocho, man. They're gonna put us on there.
Who knows, man?
We forgot to do our Mass Dispel.
Oh, is that what we're
Let's
doing
do
this
that.
week, guys? You know the tradition. This is about to get hairy up in this piece right now. It's about to get NSFW, Defcamp. Do the honors.
Guys, in reverence, in whatever the word is, in honor of TBC, we're going to do a Mass Dispel right now. We're going to Mass Dispel the coronavirus. Here we go. Good morning, Azeroth! It's time for the Burning Crusade. Here we go, through the dark portal.
Are you prepared?
Boom, boom, boom.
That's the big question. Are you prepared?
Who's prepared?
I
One's in
am
the chat if
prepared.
you're prepared. I'm not.
You can never really be prepared for this, can you?
Yeah.
Yo, with
cannot
that
wait
said,
to do this.
we're going to be way more prepared. Or maybe some people will opt to be less prepared, as Melderon said,
Yes.
than
yes.
for Classic, right? Some of us, all of us have learned so much about... Thank you for curing the globe of coronavirus, by the way.
Yes, no worries.
Yep, all the
Another
people
day.
watching.
Another day as a priest. It's okay.
Another day,
yeah.
another dollar. So we have learned a tremendous amount from Classic, right? So many things that you shoulda, woulda, coulda done. I have so many regrets, so many things that I scuffed. Like going into TBC, if you wanted to sweat it out, you would be way more prepared. Or maybe some of you, like Melderon, or maybe you can chime in on that, Melderon. I know we were just talking about it a second ago.
Yeah, basically, guys, I played 3.5 to 4 years of vanilla private servers before Classic came out, and that was probably the worst thing I've ever done because I don't have the sense of awe when I did. Now I do have my own personal ways of accessing the Burning Crusade, but I'm not going to play with other players. I'm going to use it for scientific purposes. I'm not going to use it for playing the game. So I don't want to go through the questing or the raids or the dungeons because I want to step into that for the first time in 14, 13 years. I'd rather do it that way.
See,
So I'm still going to be producing content. It just won't be from first-hand experience. It'll be from purely a theoretical numbers perspective. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. I'm already starting to work on this stuff.
We didn't know Classic was
So-
coming out too, though. You know what I'm saying? So like playing on those private
That's
servers, that's all
true.
we had. Like we didn't
That's
know.
true.
Yeah,
But now we do. So now I'm definitely not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
You know
see,
what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I played a lot on classic, vanilla private servers, but I also played a lot on a TBC private server before Classic came out. And I luckily I didn't do too much there. I did clear all the content back in TBC when TBC was out. I did every raid and all that back then.
You did
so
Sunwell, huh? You finished that.
I did Sunwell. I remember started off the first thing. I remember when Sunwell first came out. Melderon, I remember we were doing Sunwell trash runs because it was very difficult when it first came out.
And I heard you got the 2400 on Priest or something, man. That's
So
just
I
low-key,
did get pretty high on arena rating on Priest. I had a Priest and a Rogue that I mained back in the day. Like I
you
said,
got Gladiator?
so I got Merc, but I got this season. So when TBC first came out, a little just short story. I had just got out of rehab, right? For my first stint in rehab, and I didn't leave the house, Kargoz, no lie, for a good year. And I did nothing. You can ask Melderon. I did nothing but play WoW, every single day, probably more than a year. I did arena. First, I did Rogue Mage with a friend called Sincor. Sincor, if you're out there, brother, I miss you, my man. We got pretty high 2s rating there. Then I started playing my Priest in an arena and got disc as well, pretty high up there as well. So I have a lot of fun times back in the arena. But I think for me, rating back in the day was that was the most fun I ever had rating as well. So I doing things like I remember Kel'Thas when he was unkillable back in the day. I remember things like Hyjal was a mess when it first came out, and what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of those raids were available when the game first came out. It was the attunements that people had to go through to get through it. So Hyjal was actually out when TBC launched. A lot of people don't realize this. So you had multiple raids out, but you had the attunement process of getting attuned to all these raids, which took a long time. And back when Kara first came out, I remember the gear was absolutely horrible, the gear. And then later on, Kara got kind of retuned, and just little things like this, like I just remember going through the Dark Portal, and I want to hear your guys' experience on this, like for the first time, and seeing this, just you go from the Blasted Lands to Hellfire Peninsula, right, which is similar color schemes, but the music. Okay, the music was the first thing to me, which blew my mind. Then seeing the Road of Bones, right, and the demons fighting right outside the Dark Portal, one of the most amazing things that I've ever experienced in my life. And the PvP that I experienced going outside the Dark Portal was absolutely insane.
We're switching over to Hellfire Peninsula right now, because one thing that triggered me so immensely, I have to say recently, was that Honor Hold music. It just slapped the shit out of me. I wasn't prepared for it. I was not prepared. I'm sitting there, minding my own business, about to run ramps or something, and then the Honor Hold music just comes and slaps me silly back to 2007. But yeah, that's a really good segue, Defcamp. I want to hear what all of your guys, because I've never heard it before personally, and these are some of my my best friends at this point. Dunedain and Melderon, your first steps into TBC, what was that like? That was some of my favorite content from you, Melderon, back in the day, when you're just sitting in the forest and you're talking about WoW and vanilla and all that type of stuff. Sorry, go for it.
No, yeah, so none of your business, actually. That's exactly what I felt when I walked in. So when I first walked in the Dark Portal, you see the demons, right, that are at the Stair of Destiny, or whatever the hell it's called, but you look up, and the skies, right, you see this, like, broken apart world with, like, these, like, strands of the Twisting Nether and all this crap, and you're like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, right? So I'm actually sitting here on my own personal repack when I'm working on it, and I'm just literally put my camera up and looking at the sky. Like, that's like the coolest thing that I love about it. And then when you're in the Grand, which is a little more muted, you still see these huge, like, this huge moon in front of you, and like this I don't know, man. It was so surreal walking into that. It's such a stark difference between Azeroth and Draenor. Such a stark difference. And that's what I'm really looking forward to in TBC.
I had a skipped start of TBC. I had quit vanilla WoW like half a year before it because I went to university, and then TBC came out in my first year of university, and actually it came out right in the middle of the exams, the first exams I ever had in university. So that was the worst possible timing. But it got me back into WoW, and nevertheless I bought it. It just sat on my desk for a week, and I didn't play it because I didn't want to screw up my exam, But then, you kind of know how it goes, I suppose. So you install the game and you try it out for half an hour. I decided to go and make a new Blood Elf Paladin because I wanted to. Well, my friends wanted to play Horde, and we played Alliance before this, so. I made the Blood Elf Paladin, leveled on it for like half an hour to an hour. During then the exam period when I was ready in the evening. But I mean, that's not the experience you're looking for at that moment. You want to have the lounge experience, and I missed that. And after a while I got bored from being the low level zones because I went then through the zones I already played. So I dug up my old warrior, played it, went through the gate, went in Hellfire Peninsula, leveled it for like 2-3 levels. And then the exams were over, and then I really started playing TBC from that moment. So I had a really strange start. Played first Blood Elf Paladin, then played on my Human Warrior, and then actually I started playing after the exams on my Undead Priest, and that's the character I played in the Burning Crusade.
Nice.
Eventually.
Nice. I didn't know that, Dunedain.
Yeah.
So I actually, my first moment for the Dark Portal was actually on my Alliance Rogue, and Kargoz, I got to say, to the Honor Hold music. That lone like trumpet, oh my god, dude, that music right there still sends like chills down my spine. But I remember the first thing that I really truly remember walking into Hellfire was the amount of PvP that was going on. There was so much PvP going on. So a lot of the times it was really cool because the Horde would kind of push to Honor Hold, and then the Alliance would kind of push to Thraumar back and forth. And I spent hours just not doing quests, just killing people over and over and over again. I don't know about you guys, but it was insane. The server, I think, shut down a couple times just because of how many, the mass amount of people that were there, just continually trying to log in, get through the Dark Portal, do the quests, PvP going on. It was a cluster, dude. It was a clusterfuck. But I remember that there's one quest where you have to do like a bomb run where you go on the mount, and then it takes you around, and you throw the on the portals. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like the first real aerial look you get of of Hellfire Peninsula. And then you initially get that that sent over to your place, whether it's Honor Hold or Thramar on the mount. But taking that first aerial look, and you get to see just all these little parts. You see the stadium, the Hellfire ramparts. The ramparts are just this massive complex that's like right in the middle of Hellfire Peninsula that just looks insane.
So cool.
So awesome.
It really is.
I remember the first time running Hellfire ramparts, the first dungeon. And someone was asking about paladins. We'll get to classes in a little bit, guys. But someone was asking about prop paladins. Prop paladins became very good in TBC. I actually made a paladin eventually later on in TBC. But yeah, we'll talk about the classes later. But my first experience was on my rogue. I was also leveling my priest at that point. But yeah, Honor Hold music, and then the Thramar, the PvP, just so many amazing.
I just got triggered just now hearing that fell. What is it called? The Fell Reaver noise. That kind of
Yeah.
mechanical.
Dude.
That
I got wrecked by one of those yesterday.
that'd be the best alarm clock. That'd be the best alarm clock.
I know.
I could be in deep REM sleep, and then that triggers, and then I wake up in cold sweats, man. I'm about to actually do that. But just to chime in here too, so what you're looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at, this is the view right when you get through the dark portal, right? It's pretty much what that looks like.
That's it.
So, there's the dark portal right there. Perfect timing. Thank you, Mezio. You'd think he was sitting here right next to me, but shout out to Mezio for all this awesome footage. But the point I really want to make, guys, is that in the context of its time, circa 2007, it was a different world, was a different place, and World of Warcraft had yet to have been Michael Bayed in any perspective, like in any way. There's not like a ton of particles. We had never really ever even heard of the idea of flying mounts before. All this alien type of terrain and texture, and if looking at the sky, everything you see looks totally alien and foreign. And it was definitely the expansion that felt the most radically different and was just unbelievable. Seeing this is the first time you see a pit lord too, right? Like whatever you call those type of guys. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
you see
pit
in
lord.
Warcraft
You're right.
3.
Yeah.
And it is just so unbelievable. Everything, the music, the environment was so shocking. Is my point, and what I want to say. And back in the day, for me, 2007, I started to come online a little bit as a gamer. I still wasn't some huge big brain or anything, but I was there right at the launch of TBC. Me and my buddy Max. It was it was freshman year of high school, I believe. Freshman year of high school. My buddy Max, who's in our guild right now, Max the Ripper. He was in our guild, and he basically didn't go to class like at all. I just played WoW all day, skipping everything. But God, I just have good memories. And my first class that I leveled through was a hunter, and then
so good at BC, bro.
I played a bunch of different
Hunters,
classes in TBC, but I don't know, man, where I'm going with this. But it was just everything about the expansion was so shocking, right? Because we had never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Well, and something that you mentioned a lot, Kargoz, that reason why we love Classic and TBC is like just how dark of an expansion TBC was. You walk out of the dark portal, and the road in front of you is laid out with Draenei skeletons that were used to create the dark portal. How fucking awesome is that?
Dude, it's literally called the Road of Bones.
The Road of Bones,
right?
or
like the Path of Bones or something like that. It's literally made of bone. Yeah.
Such
you
a
can't get
dark,
more dark than TBC.
Yeah.
I
think the Lich King and this that, but it got a little more.
The Lich King was kind of
cartoony.
He looked like a fat dude in a big suit, didn't he? Like the Lich King. He didn't look like the Lich King. I don't know.
Then,
just didn't.
Exactly. And then someone else said Kara was creepy.
Yes,
Kara was creepy as well.
Yeah.
But nothing really really prepared you for that just immediate road of bones right down to the Hellfire ramparts. And the ramparts itself, I think, are pretty ominous as well. This huge, just complex with spikes everywhere, and you've got all these orcs all around it, and the lore and the story around the Dark Portal and how it was created and the darkness of it all.
Yeah.
Just really, I don't think anything kind of come close to it.
Yeah, if you read Thrall and Lord of the Clans or whatever, Rise of the Horde, so those books, that is my favorite aspect of the lore. Is like the leading up to breaking up of Draenor and the Outland, and both the Draenei story and the Orc story are very, very good. So I'm actually going into my favorite lore part of the entire thing in TBC. I love the Orc lore. I fucking love it.
Yeah, me too, man.
So it's going to be, yeah.
Yo, take me back, guys. Take me back to 2007, man. Take me back. In the chat, too. Help me out. Help me out in the chat, too. Here, first of all, this is Honor Hold what I'm talking about. Once you hear the music and you first step into here, man, you're going to lose. It's gonna send you way back. But what class kind of spec, where were you? Like, what server were you playing on as well? What did you start TBC out as?
Bleeding Hollow. Bleeding Hollow, yep.
Twisting Nether in EU.
Nice.
Yeah. You know that server?
Yeah, I've heard Twisting Nether, absolutely,
sure.
yeah.
There's
Bleeding Hollow.
I don't know if
there it is. Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I hear it.
Oh, so good.
So good. Actually, Chimley did a scorecraft on Honor Hold.
Oh, I love one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. So I leveled my rogue as combat, and I leveled my priest as shadow, and this is when you get vampiric touch as well. So you have, as an undead, you have 3 dots, right? Well, every 3 minutes you have devouring plague, so 3 dots with devouring plague. But that addition of vampiric touch, with that getting that mana back and that extra damage was just so amazing. That feeling of it. Leveling a rogue felt great. I eventually went sub for PvP and like shadow stuff and things like that. Oh, I want to talk more about like classes and all later, but every class to me just felt so much more.
You got some music in the background. Oh, sorry.
I think it's the Honor Hold music. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every class felt so much just intuitive. It felt so good. It was like every single class got something amazing. I mean, Druids went from being such a lackluster healer to one of the most amazing healers in the game. You have Paladins that can taunt now. You have all these amazing abilities that came out. Elemental Shamans destroyed, and dude, I can't. It's just there's so much amazing things that happen.
Is that music on the stream too?
Yeah, it's super loud.
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Oh, is it on stream? Maybe they can't hear it on stream. I don't know.
Can you guys hear the music on the stream?
It's coming through your mic, I think, Kargoz, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. 1 second.
It's like he's got this like some like sexy sax man in the background.
Yeah. It doesn't even sound like but dude, yeah. So the Bleeding Hollow I think was a really good server, Melderon.
Bleeding Hollow was great.
It was a little horde heavy, but it was very more a lot.
Yeah,
more
it was like 50. It was like 60% horde. It wasn't like 58, 60% horde. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still coming through really loud, Kargoz.
Yeah. It sounds
Someone's
like there's
talking.
a radio on or something.
Yeah, radio or something like that.
Or TV. Mm-hmm.
Guys, it wouldn't be GMA if there wasn't some kind of crazy scuff thing that happened.
Yeah, I know.
There's not been one GMA, I think, that there's
Kargoz
not
like,
been something.
Shut up down there!
yeah.
I'm trying to do a TBC episode, god damn it!
Yo, I think that was Wifey's conference call, actually. Were you hearing like some...
yeah, it was super loud. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
How did that come through? Anyway, what does
Yeah,
that?
This wasn't the crackheads playing tunes. No, that wasn't the crackheads, no.
Anyway, the thing you said there, Defcamp, TBC, all the classes are super interesting, and when it comes to the classes, we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but every class is, it's the best state of the classes, in my opinion, they have ever been in the entirety of the game.
Yes, I agree.
So everything, I would like to play all the classes, and you can't do that, obviously, so you have to make a choice, and I'm excited about to talk about the classes, to be honest.
Me too, dude.
Just saying, I get some really good vibes just sitting here and looking at all of you guys and the TBC in the background, and think about it that 1.5 years ago that we were talking about Classic, and now we're sitting here, the 4 of us, talking about BC.
I know.
It's amazing. Time flies, man.
You get happy just thinking about it.
I gotta be honest, guys, ever since the announcement of Classic, I've honestly been looking forward to this moment as well. Like, of course I was looking forward to Classic, but deep down I was like, I cannot wait until TBC comes out.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of I don't this is going to sound... I love vanilla, but I think deep down in my heart, like Defcamp just said, I wanted to get here. Ultimately, and then when Wrath comes out, that's fine and all, but this is kind of what I want.
I just want to shill for vanilla though again real quick, and just want to pay homage to the fact that vanilla is like the only iteration of WoW that doesn't have that space component to it. Like that's you really are turning a corner here where you can never go back in the sense of thankfully hopefully
I don't think Wrath did.
Well, I'm just saying from this point on, because you could always go back to Outlands. Warcraft took on a different tone, a different look and feel, a different aesthetic. It took a massive leap in a direction, and I love TBC too as well. But the simplicity of vanilla, the color palettes, the actual sort of realism of vanilla in a way, in the sense of it, all the zones kind of look like just real places in the world. It looks very simple. You're killing kobolds and gnolls. The power level just went up like how much, 5x in terms of the creatures you're killing. Now instead of killing, a couple kobolds in the Silverstream mine and getting some miner's gear, you're out here killing pit lords. And you're out here.
But it still makes sense, though. It's not like retail right now. It still makes sense in BC.
Exactly.
But I'm just gonna say before we go on here, I don't think BC is necessarily better than vanilla. For me, they both have really good things, and a combined version would probably be ideal for me. So I like both. I couldn't say I liked one better than the other, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to BC because it's been such a long time since I played it.
That's a good point, Dunedain. I think like a lot of us, we miss what we don't have, and we always what we don't have. So right now, we're craving TBC because a lot of people are craving the balancing of it. A lot of people are craving, the raids and the PV and the arena. But 2 years ago, we were craving classic as well. So it's always like in human nature to crave something that you don't have. I think is part of it. But as far as like,
go ahead, Defcamp. Yep.
I just want to say, as far as like lore goes as well, though, I think. The Burning Legion, for me, like, I think that is like the ultimate baddie in WoW, and I think it should stay. Like, to me, the Burning Legion being like the bad guys just made sense to me, and I love the fact that like, we kill Illidan for whatever reason, we kill Kel'Thas because he turned bad, but the fact that at the end of it, it's the Burning Legion behind it all. I love that fact of it as well.
Yeah, so one thing I want to say, I agree with you. You said Kargoz as far as aesthetics are concerned, but I just wanted to make sure that we knew that the orcs are aliens, right, from day one. So I wouldn't say that it's the first time we know that there's more than out there in space than Azeroth, because we already are dealing with a playable race that is an alien, technically. So I don't look at TBC as a space expansion because you're going back to the home of the orcs. And if it wasn't for the sundering of the planet, you wouldn't even see this. You wouldn't even see space. It would look like Azeroth. You know what I mean? I don't really think it's a space expansion. I think it's a demon expansion. I think that's kind of more. Look at Zangarmarsh.
The lore, I agree with you 100%. But people didn't know the lore necessarily in Vanilla WoW, and like it encompasses almost that Lord of the Rings kind of high fantasy, simple. Orcs, humans, and stuff like that. You're 100% right, though, that the orcs have always been from aliens, they've always been from Draenor, they've always been a thing. But you can't look at these TBC zones and not notice a radical shift in the art style and direction stuff. Stuff is more sophisticated. Like, look at these mushrooms right here, and there's just glowing effects, there's a lot more intricacy to stuff, which is good. I'm not saying it's purely bad, but all I'm saying is from this point on, probably in TBC, you start to feel like a hero, right? As opposed to just some pleb druid in the Cenarian Circle, or just some guy with a stick out in the Barrens, right? You're like a champion. You're out here, making big plays for the universe, and
Yeah, I also want to highlight there's a lot of content that's actually in Azeroth and TBC as well. You have Zul'Aman, you have the Ghostlands and Eversong Woods, you have
Swamp
you have Azure Mist and Blood Mist. No, I'm talking about content that's in Azeroth in TBC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you have Blood Mist, Azure Mist Isle, you have the Ghostlands and Eversong Woods, you have Zul'Aman, and you have the Isle of Quel'Danas. All of that is in Azeroth,
and
not in Outland. Karazhan. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good balance, actually. I think there's a lot of...
Yep. I was saying that. I brought that up in one of the past TBC streams. I said, that there's not a lot of reason to go back into the old world. You're going to be living in Shara, but what you said, Mallory, in the chat actually filled me in and said, actually, there is some reasons, going back to Kara and stuff like that.
And the Caverns of Time. And the
Caverns of Time. And the other thing, someone mentioned in the chat, are you concerned that TBC is a short expansion? So we went back and we went patch by patch on one of the past streams. And it's only maybe a couple months shy of the normal expansion length. So that's also a misconception that I've said myself. TBC is short. TBC is short. It actually isn't that short. It's pretty standard.
It's probably because there were no real content routes. There was always something. to do, so it doesn't feel as long as some-
Always something to do. Good point, Dunedain.
That's a
There
good
was
point,
always
Dunedain.
heroics to do. There was always, you do your heroic. I love heroic.
Dailies.
Oh my god, your dailies, your
arena.
PvP, and another thing that I wanted to say was so one thing that I think TBC did extremely well was quests and quest hubs. So back, if you remember, in Vanilla WoW, you had a lot of quests all over the place. I remember in BC the first time you would get like all these quests from one hub, do all these quests over here. So it felt like the story was progressing in a better way, where you weren't going from one place to another, to another, to another. You were doing this area's quest, then you were doing this area's quest, and it was all together in one little hub where everything was much more linear. I felt like in TBC. Of course, you had your options. After Zangarmarsh, you could you could go to Blades End Mountains, or you could go to Terraker Forest or Negrand, depending what level you were. But I do feel like things were much more linear, and I think they did a really good job with that in TBC, and as to how your character progressed.
Yeah, for sure.
So we probably move a little bit into the thing Blizzard put out.
No, what, sir?
The survey.
Oh,
Shall
the
we
survey.
move to the survey, and then
Yeah, sure thing. Let's go back to our regular mode here. So the survey came out. Can someone remind me what the options were again, chat, or someone here?
So yeah, I can. There were basically two options about starting fresh, either from level 1.
Pull up on the stream, Dunedain, if you
Sorry?
can. Why don't you link it to him so he can?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have it up here. Anyway, there was one option starting fresh from level 1, and then an option starting fresh from level 58. So those were two, and then we had the option where we transfer an entire server to TBC, but you still have the option to to transfer your character from TBC back to vanilla. So that was option 1, if I remember correctly. And then you had the opposite option 2, where the server stays vanilla, but you have the option to transfer your character to TBC on a new server. So when I first looked at it, the first two options I described, where you have a fresh one from a certain level, I don't like those for obvious reasons, I think. And you have the other two, and first I thought, well, it's cool if your server can transfer entirely to TBC, because you have the community and stuff, and the guild transfer, so it's kind of easy. But then I started thinking, you guys play in a horde, heavy horde server, so
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
the other option might be the chance for Blizzard to make things good again, where you get basically better balanced servers. If they ever gonna do that, that might be the point. But I don't have it before me, so I can't really link it. Did you find it?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now.
So-
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but- Yeah, you got it?
No, hold on.
Just type in Blizzard TBC
I am,
survey.
that's what I'm doing. Melderon.
So I mean, what do you guys want again? Just the circle. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this, but we all know sort of what we want. We discussed it before, I think. Just final. What is your
Here. It's here. I found it in 3 seconds.
3 seconds?
Oh,
Yeah.
smart Melderon.
You put it in the.
I just
in the
typed it
chat?
in Google.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
put it
did
in
I.
the chat. Yeah, I put it in the
I
chat.
do not see it in the chat. In the Discord chat?
I just in
No,
YouTube chat. YouTube chat.
Oh.
Oh, you want it in Discord chat?
Yeah,
Sure,
can
no
you put it in
problem.
there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so yeah, like Dunedain was saying, my main concern with the one of of the server progressing is servers that already like ours on Skyrim have such a huge skew of heavy horde. I think we need to solve the server issue now before we go into the Burning Crusade. And the other thing I'm worried about, guys, do you think more people are even going to play Horde come BC because of Blood Elves and Arcane Torrent?
Well, it depends, of course, how they are going to manage it. If they go with the option where you can copy your character to TBC server, I would say if they go with that option, then probably the idea to balance the factions out. So then they should add things like faction queues and stuff. And if faction queues show up, I think it will not be a problem. If they don't do it, then obviously Blood Elves are one of the most played races like ever, still to this day. And then I'm afraid it will be a problem. But it's all up to Blizzard how they handle that, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I think the best option, and there's a couple of reasons why, is to copy a character over to a new different Burning Crusade server, and there has to be a gold cap, and there has to be a certain limit on items. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have all right, the meta is totally different than it was back in the day. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a mage alt. Everyone's going to be making a ton of fucking money, and they know exactly what things are going to be useful in the next expansion, and they're going to hoard those items. I can guarantee you, if we just progress in the same server or are allowed to copy a character over, people are going to bring with them a shit ton of resources, and we're going to have a whole big issue when we go into it with the economy. There has to be a gold cap, and there has to be a cap on certain items, or like you can bring all your gear with you, but you can't bring. There has to be a cap on like reagents or something. There has to be some kind of cap.
This is kind of why with TBC Fresh,
items, but I can see the gold cap.
The gold cap, I definitely. Yeah. I first thought, well, that's not really a major issue, and then I started thinking about it, and I really feel it probably is going to be a major issue. If any people go to the Burning Crusade with a couple of thousand,
you know why it doesn't matter though, Melderon?
Why?
Because everybody has multiple accounts, so the gold cap's only going to be on one account or one character or something, right? So you could just easily
yeah, but it's going to severely limit. How many people in the chat have more than one account? Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, let's straw poll that. Actually, I'm super curious.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably like 10% of the population.
You think so? Okay,
maybe less.
Okay, how many accounts do you have?
Does one US, one EU count? Yeah, I guess that counts, right?
3, 4,
yeah, that doesn't count because it won't affect the economy.
Right. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Straw poll hitting the chat. I'm actually very curious.
I actually only have one if you only count my
how much
EU and B and A.
How many multi-boxers there are?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I feel though if they are going to add a gold
no
cap,
Jerome, I love.
if they're going to hit the gold cap, they should announce that quite early, so people don't spend tons of time getting a lot of gold now to transfer to
Melderon.
Yeah, 71% right now.
70% one account.
I actually thought it was going to be way more than that. I thought it was going to be 80 to 90% one account.
I think no hit Jerome's in the chat though. He got his own option. One vote.
Yeah.
What's up, Jerome?
But to be honest, I want to pull a much larger audience because I think it would be less. Because I think our audiences are much more into this game, right?
True.
So I think we're going to have more multi-boxers than normal in this survey.
So, okay, here's one thing, Melderon, I definitely think the gold cap is you're right on this, but we already have that problem in Classic where people can, like I've been, holding on to like, if for instance Fire Blue, like certain things, in mats. And it rewards the person who prepares, and people could also back in the day look on the PTR and see, okay, this jewel crafting is going to be big. Let me mine and do this, and so there was I think a certain extent, much less back then, but even we see it in Classic now. So I don't think it's that big of an issue.
But it adds up though.
Dude, you got people that are already starting to squirrel away stuff. I guarantee you.
I agree.
But that's not fair because no one knew at this point in Vanilla's timeline there would even be an expansion.
Mm-hmm. I think
that's the point I'm getting at.
It adds up to if you start doing it now already, then it slowly gets worse by the time we all hit TBC, and people who start now, they will probably have hundreds, thousands of gold, and that ruins part of the game, really.
Yeah.
It's less gold, to be honest, gold is less important, I think, in the Burning Crusade than it is in Vanilla for certain items. It's still really important, though, but it's kind of less important.
Well, what do you guys think, chat? Is it? I actually don't freaking know, man. I mean,
what,
consumables are less of a thing, right?
They're a lot cheaper.
They're a lot cheaper.
Flasks are... Yeah, not much.
I mean, you still have flash, you have like the battle elixirs, you have all that kind of stuff.
Because the way herbalism works, everyone gets a chance of getting a Fel Lotus, right? So there's not like Fel Lotus spawns.
Right.
So that's a huge difference about why they're so much cheaper.
Some of those gems, though, and stuff like jewel crafting.
Gems are expensive. Sure, they are.
Jewel crafting. Yeah, I love. Like, we talk about the.
But remember, you can make more money
what
too.
What professions are you going?
Jewel crafting all the way, bro.
All the way.
Jewel crafting, mining on my main.
Telling me that if you're sweaty, you got to go enchanting jewel crafting. It's the only way.
I love
enchanting blacksmithing is the.
I do Dunedain with blacksmithing, dude.
I might switch leatherworking for shaman. Yeah.
Oh, for drums?
Yeah.
Oh, no, for drums are
and
so
the period
good.
bis and all the period bis. Yeah.
So flying mounts wearing chief. You guys remember? So what? It was 1,000 gold for the first one, right?
Unless you're a big Chad Druid, you get it at level 68 for free.
5,000 gold for epic flying.
That's true, but 5,000 gold.
That was Frostadamus can only buy 27 of them.
But nowadays,
someone's gonna make a guide who like, hey guys, let's make a guide about where you can farm in TBC Elemental Plateau. Like everyone knows Elemental Plateau. Like you know what I mean? Like everyone knows, dude. It's gonna be insane trying to farm.
But that video will have 1.5 million views anyway.
Exactly.
You know
okay. 5,000 people up on Elemental Plateau.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh my god, no one knows this spot. Like, dude, are you kidding me?
Honestly, if I'm Blizzard though, you have a tough decision to make, because I think Blizzard has got a real taste of how sweaty people can be and what happened with Classic, how the pacing got super accelerated because people went really hard. They could do some stuff and learn from Classic, and they could launch TBC with some differences in the sense like they could obviously do no multi-boxing. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could do stronger dungeons, or they could mess with the XP a little bit to make it harder to level up guys through dungeon spam. They can mess with the dungeons a little bit to prevent some of the dungeon gold making. I don't know. These are all things that they can do.
What would you want from TBC if you can summarize it in a few sentences?
Damn.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
I want fresh. I want fresh TBC option. Actually, oh man, hold on.
You want to go back?
So you want to lose your character?
It's not that. All right, I'm kind of really severe cognitive dissonance. A part of me wants fresh because I always want fresh.
Just make a blood elf.
I'm getting back into my warlock now though, and I'm just thinking to myself, we're gonna be in full Nax gear and we can't continue them. I would be a liar to say that I would roll level 1 come TBC if my warlock and all you guys and our whole guild and raid is there.
We're gonna be clearing next, and you're gonna tell me that you're gonna want to drop that guy off. Fuck that.
Yeah. No, what's the point of an RPG? What's the point of an RPG if you can't progress your character?
If you can't go into your bank,
there's a limit on it though. There's a limit on it.
What about both? You can have progress and you can still have fresh servers. I mean.
Yeah, just make a blood elf.
It would be a fresh server if you did a copy, right? It's a fresh server, technically.
Yeah, it is. There has to be a line where Blizzard does reset, though, because then you reach the current situation with retail where you keep getting stronger and stronger, and then you start one-shotting planets with a butter knife.
It's gonna stop. It's gonna stop at Wrath. It has to stop at Wrath.
Okay.
Why?
Right?
I want
because that's the classic era. That's classic WoW. That's classic. You know what I mean? Okay. If it goes past Wrath, what's the point? I don't understand. Who's gonna play Cataclysm again?
Some people do, though. Some people like the PvP. Yeah. They should just screw them, though, man.
I was thinking about Cataclysm. I don't think they will make it, but I really enjoyed Rated Battlegrounds, and I played it a lot in Cataclysm, so I would probably play it.
Cata wasn't bad when it first came out.
Mm-hmm. I would probably play Mists too. I wouldn't play Warlords, but I would play the first 5, to be honest. But
you think there's a WoD private server right now?
Yeah, there is.
I think there is, yeah.
People want to play WoD private server. They're actually playing Harvest Moon in their garrison.
There's probably 6 people on there, but yeah, I mean,
real quick, guys, I just want to talk about something. So, back in Classic WoW, there was some attunements, very, very, very minimal. What do you guys feel about attunements? I love the TBC attunements. I think it's an amazing way to gate certain, raids and certain content, but also to reward people to, go on these epic journeys to, it could be tedious when you have to do it on multiple characters, this, that, and other, but honestly, I think heroics...
Think about Oni attunement. Do you enjoy Oni attunement? No.
Oni attunement? Honestly, no, but I'm not going to lie. It's not that I enjoy the TBC attunement. I do, actually.
How fun is Oni attunement 1 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, chat?
I think the first time is kind of fun, though.
Well, Alliance, you guys have no... I mean, you guys are so much easier to...
I don't want to hear the Alliance votes on them.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, go into BRD 3 times.
Friggin', what's his name? Rexar. I'm going to send you a link, Kargoz, and this is the attunement. It's kind of like an attunement thing real quick, though, where you can look at the attunements for all the raids and the heroics and stuff like that. So... there it is right there. I'm going to pull it up. It shows you all the different attunements that you need.
Okay.
So do you do your standards, and then you get your heroics, and then you need to get, the key. So you need to get, the rep, and then you go to your raids. Magtheridon, Kara, Gruul's Lair. Then you have Tempest Keep, Serpentine Cavern, and then Hyjal. And so you have all these mess up things that you have to do in order to get to a certain point. And that's why they were able to put Hyjal out in the beginning, but no one was able to do it because of the attunements they had to do to get there, right?
Wasn't it technically impossible to do it, actually, Hyjal?
Was it technically impossible? You're saying?
I think so.
Well, you needed to clear the other raids before.
Oh yeah, and it was never cleared, obviously. Tempest Keep wasn't cleared.
Right, because Tempest Keep was Kalthos was unkillable for a while.
Yeah, okay, that's why. Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling it up. It's pretty blurry on this actual official Blizzard post as well, so it's kind of hard to see. But this is like an attunement. What do you want to call this? What's the Melderon scientific term, man?
Flowchart.
Yeah. So you had to do, I remember, doing the Black Morass, and then also remember
Kara. Do you like the Kara one?
I love the Kara. Yeah, I know it's a lot to get to it, but the Black Morass, and you have to do all that shit. But what I really liked about for some things is that also there were some dungeons and raids that you couldn't do unless you had a flying mount as well. So a lot of people say, I would love to see TBC without flying, but flying was kind of essential in the way they built the map.
Yeah,
and the way they did things in TBC. So it would take a lot for them to have to get rid of.
They're not doing that, and there's no I honestly cannot understand that argument though. Please help me out here. What is the argument? TBC with no flying mounts? That's like having cheese with no rice.
First of all,
that's just there's no. It doesn't work, man. They're designed for flying.
Happen.
Yeah,
the whole map was designed for flying. You can't get into the Arcatraz without a fucking flying.
Are you gonna use a little parachute glider to try to get to?
It doesn't make any. That argument is so stupid because they haven't obviously even seen the map. Like if you look at the map, you won't. It's not possible.
There's no way to get up to Arcatraz, bro. You're gonna use one a trampoline. You try get trampoline.
How are you gonna get to all these places?
So someone wants us to explain the attunement. I could do it, but my words are not as precise as Melderon's or Dunedain's or. Does someone want to explain what the the whole thing behind attunement is and why, you know what I mean? Like the whole
All right. Would you consider heroics attunements too? Like, dude, there's a lot of gated.
Well, they're part of the attunement process.
Yeah, they're part of the attunement process. So, basically, I'll explain it. So,
that's where
basically,
it starts. Start with the normal dungeons. Yeah, all the way up. Like, start at the bottom.
What I want to explain is like the idea of I don't know what you meant. I don't know if we explain the whole map, but basically, it is you gate content through other content, right? So you have easier content. So, for instance, you have these standard dungeons like Sethic Halls, Mechanar,
which are already pretty tough. They're on. It's not like classic, dude.
Especially the ones in Terrakar and the Auchendoon. Those ones are pretty difficult. Old Hillsbrad, which is Caverns of Time, Underbog, Slave Pens. So you have these dungeons. In order to get do the heroic version of them, you have to get the key, right? And the key is done through getting the rep through doing these dungeons. Okay, so then you get the key, you do these quests.
How do you get the key? Some of them you have to get.
Some
revered,
of them have
revered with
some
reputation.
Of them revered.
That takes a hot minute, man. Blizzard has the option to go with an honored reputation for the key or revered. Well, I don't know what you guys think in the chat. I think revered is going to definitely slow people down.
Revered's the way to go. Here's the thing, though.
It's like need revered also. Yeah,
I think we do. And so there's also quest lines accompanying to some of these as well. So. The old Hillsbrad one has a quest line. The Caverns of Time quest line, we have to walk around with that guy. You remember that? So you have the quest lines for entering the Karazhan. You got to do Shadow Laments and Alcatraz and Steambolts. You got to get all these different parts to make the key, the Black Morass, and then you can finally get and do Karazhan. But then you have all the heroics. So you have heroic Steambolts, heroic Alcatraz, Shadow Lab, Shattered Halls, all the regular dungeons. You have the heroic versions of them, which also give badges. You get these badges. Which you can get to buy gear from a vendor. Okay, so you can also get there's vendor gear, which is they're called welfare epics. And people used to call the PvP gear welfare epics as well. But so you do all this, right? You get into Kara, and then you have I guess the raid, the tier 1 raids, which were the tier 4, so you had Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, Magtheridon's Lair. After that, you had the second tier of raids, which is Tempest Keep and Serpentine Caverns, and then Hyjal after that. So the thing was, yes, you did have these different tiers available at the time, but you had to go through this gated content first before you could do the next version of it, and that's what attunement is.
But I have to note it out each time, guys. I don't think in the history of World of Warcraft, let me know if you guys think of anything else, but never before in the history, we'll never see it again, and this is the only time they've ever done it, that they had 3 fully loaded raid tiers with different armor, right? They had original armor sets for all of these.
Yep.
Quests, everything. All fully loaded up and ready to go in the base version of the game, in one kind of patch. And I guess the reason why I've heard from some people is that Karazhan was already good to go almost for vanilla. It was originally supposed to be a vanilla raid, so that kind of just got slumped into the TBC. But it's pretty unbelievable. And we have to shout out the hardest attunement of them all, the Shatra City attunement. Shatra. You know what I'm talking about, right? You have to go walk and follow that little.
Oh my god!
Oh, that mother.
Yes.
That's
And somehow you always lose him, bro. You look away for 1 second
God.
because you're checking your phone, and he's gone, and you're like, "Oh no!" And you have to start it all over again.
Wait, are you an
Yeah,
Aldor bro or a
Kargoz,
Skyer bro? Are you Aldor or Skyer bro?
Depends on your class, bro.
Aldor, bro.
But, yeah.
Aldor, bro. For most people,
I remember-
it's Aldor, right?
Well, it depends on your
DPS.
Yeah.
DPS is usually it depends. It's usually Square, but
Dude, back in the day, I was like, I was like, you know, oh, the Blood Elves seem cool. Let me pick them. Like, I had no idea what the, you know what I mean? I just picked it to pick it.
Yo, that attunement though, where you have to follow. What's his? Khadgar's minion.
it's
right?
Khadgar's like minion. Yeah. You just follow him around.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh god, I hate that.
hardest quest I've
Hate
ever
that.
done in my life, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Not
Also,
even-
all the so not only are the raids super complicated, but all of the reps are super also needed as well. You need to get these reps up. You have to.
Yeah.
And that's super big part of the game.
That's why they should leave it at Revered, in my opinion. I think you would lose a lot of content if you put it at Honored, because you're
Yeah, I
basically
think they
honored
have to
and
leave it revered.
The thing is, that would be a changes thing, because if they're going with 243, they would have to bring it down to Honored, right? They're bringing it down to Honored at 243, so they should
it's three.
bring
Yeah,
it back a little bit.
I think they would go with 2.4.3, but I feel it's really
You
important
kinda
here
have
that
to.
they learned from
Yeah.
the mistakes they made in Classic, and I really feel, I still do, that Classic, there's a kind of wasted opportunity there in Endgame and basically throughout all the game, that it's a little bit too easy, and we are just waiting to see the hard content from Nax. And in my opinion, it's just a shame that we have to wait one year and a half to actually see what the end game could have been. So I really hope if they go with 2.4.3 that they buff everything a little bit. With everything, I mean raids, I mean dungeons, I mean mobs in the open world. I mean everything. If they want to go with the latest patch, then buff everything accordingly, so we have the same experience. That's my take on it. I hope they learn a little bit from it. I really feel like Classic would have so much more longevity, if that's a word, if they would just buff up the current trade content a little bit.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I know, you know, but I do remember seeing, and the last time I private servers, right? So obviously, I think their stats were a little bit higher. But like, when you first get, you know, you're trying to get geared and you do some of these heroics. Some of these heroics are pretty difficult for someone who's in, you know, greens and whatever. You know, there's certain fights like what's the one fight? I think it's at Sethik Hall's heroic where basically you can't use any cast spells. You got to use all instant cast. You know, and like you can really only do it with like a priest or a resto druid. And there is a certain difficulty with these hardcore, not hard. I'm sorry, heroic dungeons. But I guarantee you, like Dunedain, you're probably right, man. You know, well, like I'm used to. I played it on private servers. That was a little bit more difficult. And I think if they do it like they did in 2.4.3, you know, content would be probably way too easy. And I definitely expect them to. To do it as they did in Classic, where they had all the content that was nerfed and this, that, and the other. So yeah, I mean, like it felt good when I played not recently, but when I played a few years back on the BC private servers, where things still felt kind of difficult, but were actually, were achievable and they were still doable. So I would like to see it somewhere in that kind of realm where it's not like we're not asking them to buff the boss damage by 50% or anything like that.
No, obviously not over buff anything. Just adjust for the changes you have with 2.4.3. So it's the same difficulty as it would be without those changes. And I know the changes in TBC are a little bit less severe than they were in Classic. I'm aware of that, but still. It's still easier when you go to that latest patch, and I feel we should they should learn from the mistakes they made. In my opinion, it were mistakes at least, and I think many people agree on that. Probably not everyone, but yeah.
Kargoz, you guys see you pulling some class stuff over. You ready to talk about classes?
You guys ready? Who's hyping the chat? Who's talking about classes right now? Who's ready?
Hell yeah!
What class do you guys think you're gonna play in TBC? I'm already conflicted. Actually, I'm conflicted.
I'm not
sure, dude. Are you guys alive? Let's put one in chat if you're alive.
One's in the chat. Posture chat.
One's in the chat if you're alive. Let's talk
Snapple's in the chat. Dunedain, do you have an emote yet? You should have a blacksmithing hammer, dude. That should be
I'll work on that. Yeah, it's good.
All right, guys. So what we're gonna do right now, we have a Prot Cow video. He's one of the only content creators I've seen over on the TBC side of things early that has a ton of guides. I'm gonna link his channel in the chat.
Prot Cow's great. Yeah,
you've heard of him, bro?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, we're gonna play this Prot Cow video.
5% crit from Moonkin.
And what he's doing here is he's basically pulling up each spec and just giving a snapshot of the benefits of each spec. And I can't think of a more efficient way of doing this. I could try to put it together ourselves, but it would just take forever. So let's go. Let's just get right into it. Balanced Druid is what we're starting off at. Let's notice any changes here. First of all, right off the bat, Balanced Druid is in a much better spot than in Classic, some might say. They are good in PvP. You can run them in 3s. You can run them as a Resto kin where you still get balance. You still get Moonkin form. Even though you're kind of a healer.
Boomkins. You know, this is the Boomkin. This is where the birth of Boomkin started here in BC.
Absolutely. They have 5% Moonkin aura, so that's up from 3%, right? And the other thing too is they have Cyclone in TBC, right? So you can cast Cyclone in Moonkin form, and you can use Bark Skin in Moonkin form. I know there's got to be some Moonkin hype out there. Anything else on balance, guys?
It's one of the classes I considered, but I'm probably not going to play because you can't see your gear, and that's something Druid has not going for it, in my opinion. But that's for all farms. So, but one misconception, though, I feel is a balanced Druid still doesn't. It's on the slide too. It still doesn't do that much damage, though. It's overall a really good class in TBC because it brings a lot of utility, but the damage is still on the lower side of the spectrum. Which is not a problem. I don't think every class should do exactly the same amount of damage. I don't think that's good design. I like it this way. But people sometimes say Boomkins, they top the damage meters, and I don't think that's really true.
Well, here's the thing with Boomkin. So you're not going to probably mages, right, or like hunters, but you actually and I remember raiding with a Moonkin who steady came within the top 5 sometimes that we used to raid with, and he made all his consumables, this and other, but there is a chance for Moonkins to do much more damage than you did in Classic, and I think a lot of it has to do with the talents, that the talents are much more suited. You have 2 dots. Insect Swarm does a good amount of damage now, as well as Moonfire, and you have those Starfire spam, which is just tons and tons of damage. So
can you actually put up the talent trees?
Yeah, I can put up talent trees, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
You want to go for Druid first?
Yeah,
let's just talk about Druid. Yeah.
All right, let's put up the talent trees. We're testing the production here. There we go. Okay, got the
but they got a lot better in Wrath. But yeah, BC was kind of like a middle ground for them. They did okay,
Mm-hmm. But I think they're definitely more than viable. They are just a full core rate member now, like basically every class, and that's why they really like in TBC. Balanced Druid overall really nice, I feel, but it's not the best design a Balanced Druid ever had, contrary to many other classes and specs. Balanced Druid got better later, where they had those the eclipse thing, the moon,
definitely.
That I like that a lot. Right there. Hell yeah, dude! Look at that. We got the full talents right there. So I'm actually really tempted to go either Druid or Warlock, guys. Druids, I mean, we've talked about this a lot on stream recently. They're insane in PvC. They really are.
They first of all, the feral tanking is amazing, right? Yeah. Absolutely bonkers how good feral tanking is. Good. And feral DPS, it's obviously not one of the best DPS specs, but it actually is viable. And let's not. I think this spec probably made the most drastic change is Resto Druid, right? From any other class in spec from Classic WoW to BC. They went from being one of the most lackluster healers to being one of the best healers in the game, especially in fights where you need a lot of instant casts. And you have Life Bloom now, which is just amazing. You have, let's see about.
It's insane, isn't it?
What's that? Wild Growth you have now,
yeah.
right? So you have and that was instant cast, I believe, in BC, right? Wild Growth was instant cast, like Circle of Healing, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, Wild Growth? What's Wild? You mean Swiftman? Which one? Which one are you talking about?
Wild Growth was the AOE hot. If you go down, so scroll down a little bit more.
Okay.
On the you can't see everything.
Yeah, here we go. I gotta transition. It's on Resto.
But I really, sorry to interrupt you, Defcamp, but what I really like about Resto Druid in particular, but BC in general, is every healer is in such a niche now, and every healer has its own like identity, and it already had it in Classic, but in BC it's even more. So if you thought Classic class design was really good when you come from retail, is something I personally think. If you go to Burning Crusade, it's even more defined. So classes are even more their class identity is even more defined than it already was, and I think that's the top of class identity we had. So yeah, the rest of Druid is like the healing over time healer with the tree form. You move a little bit slower, I think, if I remember
Poly,
yeah, tree form, tree of life.
You can't cast any direct heals too. Yeah, so Wild Growth actually wasn't in TBC apparently. But
what am I thinking of?
No, it was in Wrath.
There's Swiftman.
Okay,
there's Life Bloom. Life Bloom is a huge one.
Life Bloom was so good. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, so like you have Life Bloom, which you can stack 3 times, right? It has 3 stacks. And at the end of it, it gives a really big heal. But I remember, like, if you have Life Bloom, Rejuve, and like Regrowth on a tank, dude, their health is going. That's why they were so good in PvP. You know what I mean? You're able to put hots on someone and then just run around in bear form or cat form, and as they heal. You know what I mean? It's just insane how much healing they can do. With their hots, it's so fucking good.
So I wonder, people say that druids are kind of the weakest healers in a sense in Classic because they can't get good value from their hots because healers are sniping heals from each other, and it's the only real way they're going to get good value from their hots is if all the healers work together and use all their mana as one collective mana pool. But in Classic, like you kind of are destroying the content in a lot of ways that it's hard to even really do that. People are just sniping.
And you have so many healers as well. You have so many healers that are just sniping heals. TBC, you have less healers. You have more room for these hots to actually go off and do their thing.
You say you have less healers, but in a raid of 25 men, I think percent. How do you put that? Relatively speaking, you have more healers.
We think about it like this, Dunedain. Where you're in a fight where, just like this, for instance, say the main tank's taking a lot of damage, you have so many healers now. All these healers focused on the main tank, right?
Yeah, that's true, though. Yeah, in absolute numbers.
And that happens so often in Classic, where a lot of people are just healing the main tank. He's maybe the only one taking damage. Maybe you got a couple of heals going off on the and as a horde, a lot of times the chain heal can take care of who else is taking damage. So you have sometimes 10, 11 healers just focused on this one person, and the hot is never. I mean, maybe you put a renew on them or whatever, but in BC where you might have someone designated to healing the raid, healing the tank, and if there's more options for these hots to actually do healing.
Yeah, you say shamans for horde, but same thing actually for alliance. Paladins just snipe all the heals with their flash of lights, and druids kind of are doomed to.
I just put it this way: like, I really feel bad for Resto druids. I really do.
Yeah,
like
in Classic,
potentially really, really great healers, but they just don't really get the chance to shine. Really.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Druids are kind of.
Yeah.
They get a lot of love in TBC though.
They get a lot of love, dude.
It's going to be rough going through every single spec, guys. TLDR in the chat, and also you guys, what are the things that druids are most excited for to TBC, or what would the reasons be? 3 reasons why you'd want to play a druid or something like that. And also, let's give them a rating out of 10. TBC.
I give druids an 8 out of 10 in TBC.
Maybe we go by specs. We do the specs rating out of 10. That maybe that makes more sense.
I mean, it's gonna take a while to go do all this, but yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. That's a tough challenge, actually.
Just because of how good they are in arena, and in PvP, and also in tanking, and I would give them an 8 overall. I think.
Flight form
put them really high though.
Flight form is
Flight
insane.
form is amazing, especially as herbalist, so you can just keep herbing while flying.
True.
I really like Druids in TBC, honestly. Would probably put them on 8.5 to 9
Nice.
out of 10.
I'm going 10 out of 10, baby. Druid.
10 out of 10.
I'm either going Lock or Druid. I'm playing. Well, yeah, fuck it. I'm playing Druid on Endless right now, and holy shit, they're actually so fun, dude. They're so fun. They gear up really quick. They can do so much. Mangle feels amazing on Feral. If I had to choose 3 things that I'm most hyped for about Druids, when it comes to only 3 things. Let me see. Flight form is up there, though. I have to say, flight form is unbelievable. I can shield for the flight form all day, every day. Because all you need to do is drop combat for 1 second and you instantly go into flight form. I can't tell you how much impact that is, man. You can also use flight form out of the water. So if you're swimming and you're doing like steam vaults and you want to just, you don't have to. Most people can't use their flying mount in water. They have to go to the land, right? And then they have to summon their bird or their griffin. Druid, you just jump up, bam, flight form, right? And you can also jump out of flight form, hit him with a couple moonfires, maybe NS something, and then go back into flight form as you're falling down to the earth. You can, it's instant, so it's an instant mount. It allows you to do the cheekiest things in world PvP. You can jump down, just destroy someone real quick, sprint away as long as you drop combat for 1 millisecond, bam, flight form, and you're free. And it's free, and you get it at level 68. Unbelievable, the Druid flight form.
Kargoz did swipe in bear form. Is it TBC when it became that it hit everyone around you, or
still 3? So that's why Druids are actually not the greatest AoE tanks compared to. I think people say that Paladins are the king of AoE tanks in TBC. 100%. They have the little frisbee, the holy frisbee. But the thing is with swipe, you can make it work because how swipe will work is it'll target the things nearest to the target you're swiping. So what you do is if you have a bunch of people around you, at least that's what I do. You just swipe different targets over and over again to try and get a nice little spread, because even a 2 target swipe is your best thing to do on a Druid, even 2 targets. But the other thing I have to say, number 2 is Cyclone. Cyclone is just the bee's knees. You can use it defensively, offensively on the kill target. Unbelievable. And number 3 for Druid is Mangle. I love Mangle, dude.
Mangle's awesome. Yeah. All right, let's move to another. Let's try to get as many classes that we've done. Let's do Shaman.
Wait. Just one more. Shouldn't we just 2 things actually? Shouldn't we put a little bit more time in each class and do another episode next week so we can go more in depth?
Definitely. This is just the lightest touches, the light touch. I'm sure we're going to be chipping away at the classes over the months as we get closer.
Another thing, I feel like all hybrid classes really are extremely interesting in TBC, and they get a lot of love in TBC. And the DPS classes, they do get some love too, but it's really the hybrids that shine here, I feel. If you just look at the Druid, for example, the bear tank, that's an amazing thing to try out. It's something I would probably play if I played Druid. I'd probably try and be bear tank. But also the Resto spec is really amazing, and then Boomkin suddenly gets viable. So I feel like hybrids really, they get the best out of it, and it's a general team, I feel, through the classes. So
true. We could talk for probably like 5 hours just about Druid. Some people will say that Resto Druid in TBC is the highest skill cap, highest class and spec in the history of World of Warcraft. I don't know if you guys
think
agree
so.
With that.
Really?
That's
what in PvP or?
Yes, in PvP. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean.
There's a lot you can do with the Cyclone.
There is. There's. I would have to disagree with that, honestly. I mean, it can look intimidating for some people, like swapping in and out of form. But I played a Druid, and honestly, I don't think it was. Maybe I wasn't that high skill cap, but I don't think it's. I think there are other classes that have a higher skill cap, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I would have to say something like for example,
he's gonna say priest.
No. Honestly, I think priest isn't, especially for PvP. There are some things that you have to do as priest, that you're constantly dispelling offensively, defensively. But I always look at like rogues and see like how much rogues doing, shadow step, kick, blind, all the other things that you can do as a rogue in the PvP sense. Maybe I don't know. Honestly, it's sometimes when I watch a rogue and I just see like a really good rogue play, I think of like that they're kind of.
Let me show you this too real quick about Druid, guys. So we can go through all of our classes. That's probably what we should do. We should go to like Paladin, Shaman, Priest, and like highlight all the main stuff. For Druid, since I'm sort of playing Druid now, Mayhem, this might be up there too, bro. This is unbelievable. This is a like a gouge for Druid, pretty much. You can open up as a cat, or in TBC, guys, combo points don't go away. How hype is that? So you can put combo
Yeah.
points on somebody,
Yeah.
right? And it just stays there like forever. So then whenever you want, you can go into cat form and maim them. And this is like an interrupt.
Yeah.
It's a CC. It also allows bleeds to keep ticking on it. You do not have this in Classic. This is a cat ability. That's why it feels like you have 9 million different ways to mess with the target when you're playing Druid. So maim is definitely up there. Also, we're on a TBC database right now. Other one, if for bear tanks, not only do you have Mangle, but you have this thing called Lacerate. Which, your bear rotation is actually kind of fun. Which in Classic, what is it right now? Maul. In TBC, you have Mangle, you have Lacerate, and you're keeping the Lacerate stacks going. You know, you just have some more stuff to do.
Yep, Lacerate's awesome. Yeah, I love Druid. See, I actually think Feral PvP might actually be a little bit more higher skill cap than Resto, in my opinion.
Oh, and then the other thing we should do is we should look at the tier sets, guys. Tier sets.
Yeah.
We can't
Dude,
go wrong with this.
oh my god, I love the what was it, tier 5 for Druid? Oh my god, it was so good.
It's,
see if we can
yeah,
see this.
and priest, man, but you're not.
Oh, the priest tier 5 is so good.
You can
too,
see
yeah.
it already. It's like
Yep, and the rogue, dude. Gotta love the rogue. Remember when I got that mask Melderon and I was so fucking excited?
Yeah, the skull
I
one.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tier 4.
Which one is the Druid
That's
one?
tier
Here?
5.
Let's see. We can figure it out. Oh, it's on the
Left
left,
one.
right?
It's on the left. I love those shoulders, dude. Okay, it looks way better on a Tarn though, I think. But tier 6 Druid is my favorite tier, Druid tier.
This one that looks like you're straight out of Camp Tarajo?
The one below it, tier 6.
All
I
the
love
way at
those
the bottom.
shoulders. With
This
the
is all the way at the
eagles.
bottom. Yeah,
With the Eagles? Yeah.
This looks like it would look better on a Torn though, because it got
No, it
that
looks
kind of like
so much better
Navajo,
on
kind of the Indian. Native
So much
American
better
look.
on Tarn, yeah.
What do you guys think
I
about
also
this tier
love-
4 though, dude? This tier 4 is looking a little bit suspect for Druid.
I'm not really liking that. Yeah.
Tier
My favorite tier, I love
4
tier
isn't
4
amazing.
Warlock actually.
Warlock, but Warlock sets are generally always looking great.
Yeah.
Dude, tier 5 Warlock's the best Warlock suit in the game.
I love tier 5 Warlock.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tier
Tier
5
5.
Shaman's pretty badass too, Melderon.
Yeah, tier 5 is my favorite collectively. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some things I don't like about tier 5, but tier 5 collectively is my favorite tier set in the game ever in
It's
history.
between tier 5 and tier 6. Like,
Better
tier,
than all the
I
vanilla
love,
sets, huh?
Oh, vanilla sets are
Yeah.
junk, dude.
I
Vanilla
love-
sets are
dude,
junk?
come on.
Compared to TBC, absolutely, dude. Yep.
No way.
what about
Shots
Judgment?
fired.
Judgment is still up there though,
Yeah.
but tier 5 priest is probably my favorite. All
I love
time.
tier 5, especially the shadow. It looks so cool.
Mhm.
Melderon, what do you love? What do you think about? I like actually all tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6 for Shaman. I like them all.
I like tier 5 only.
Let's go Druid though. Let's
Yeah.
rate him real quick. Tier 4 out of 10, guys. This is the top one here. It looks like a Power
3.
Ranger. I'm gonna give it a
It's not amazing.
1.
3.
3 is fine.
Yeah.
I feel like all these would look better on a Torn. Maybe the second one looks a little bit better on Night Elf. I don't know. So
Dude, it looks so good on Tarn, the tier 6 especially.
Does it? Okay, so then what? Tier 5. What are you rating this? This purple
Tier 5, I give it
ensemble.
a 6, I think, maybe 6 or 7. I'd say 6. 6, yeah.
Kind of like it 7 for me.
All right. And then,
Melderon?
yeah, what do you think, Melderon? You like the
Well,
Druid
what for
sets?
druids?
Yeah, how you?
Mhm.
I
how you
like
feel about the
I like tier 5 druid. I don't like the other two sets. Yeah, I'd say I don't know. Tier 5 is like an 8, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I like tier
Yeah.
6. I have to say,
too.
Defcamp, you're actually right. It captures that Druid spirit as the eagle helm coming over. It's got like.
Can you show it on a Tarn real quick? Tier 6 on Tarn if you can. It's
I like
one of
tier
the best looking
5.
things, amazing.
Currently, I like tier 5 more though. The glow on the shoulders and stuff. It just adds something. But
Okay. So the Druid
Decent.
sets seem decent. They don't
decent. Yeah.
blow me off my feet though. Like they don't. You know, isn't the look at the Warlock one. Come on, man.
I
Look at
know.
the Warlock one. He even has wings that come out of his head, bro. Like that's just too cool, man. But anyway, the
Yeah.
Druid ones are all right. Go back.
Here, I gave you the link to the Druid. What's the name? The Tarn Druid tier 6 in chat. I love that.
Let's see.
I think it looks so much better on Tarn.
Yeah, it does look better.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Okay. It's tough to go over a whole class, guys. Again, these are just the lightest touches we can have
Yeah.
on these classes. I mean, again, we're not like the biggest brain experts, but there's a lot to look forward to.
It looks too much like a shaman, in my opinion.
Does it?
Yeah, tier 6 druid looks like a shaman. It doesn't look like a druid to me at all.
I could see it on Shaman, yeah.
Yeah,
I could see it on
that's
Shaman.
that's why I really don't like it. Yeah,
I see.
it's kind of weird. It just doesn't fit the class.
especially on Tauren here, though. On Night Elf, it fits better than in a way.
Yeah, for sure, because there's no Shaman on Night Elf. That makes sense, right? But if a Tauren looks like it's Tauren Shaman, absolutely looks like it's Tauren Shaman. Yeah.
Okay, very important straw poll next, guys. So we all kind of prepared a little bit to talk on our own classes. So we get to hear from Shaman, which is Melderon. Paladin is going to be what you're playing, right? Dunedain, right? For sure, right?
Yeah, Paladin.
Paladin or Priest. So, okay.
Or Hunter, next. Right? Or Hunter or Warlock.
Hunter.
Yeah, I've been talking too much.
I have Paladin and Hunter on my list, to be honest. But I played Priest back in the day, so I know.
Oh, nice. So we can both. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 1 second. Straw poll coming in the chat right now. Okay, here we go. Please vote. We're gonna have to chip away at this, boys, but thankfully we got like a year, maybe a year plus to get through all this TBC content.
I think we should continue this next time.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like 1,000 people in here, man. This is the biggest GMA we've had in a minute, yo. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. There's the straw poll right there. If you guys want to go ahead and vote on that, would be much appreciated. Much appreciated.
I kind of want to hear Melderon talk about Shaman, honestly.
Look how close it is. Look at all the equal distribution of love for GMA. 18 votes, 15 votes.
I voted for Melderon.
Alright, we'll give it another... I mean, we'll have time to get through all of them. Let's just in the interest of time, we'll go with Melderon.
Oh, okay. Dunedain, wait. Oh, wait, it's tied? No, it's tied now.
Alright, 10 seconds.
Ooh.
10 seconds. Vote it up. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I got some things I want to say about Paladin too.
Melderon won.
Oh, Melderon won. Yeah. Okay. Nice. I know Melderon's prepared.
All right. Yeah, I have a lot prepared. So you want to just ask me questions, Kargoz? That might be easier.
Well, why don't you give like Melderon? Why don't you give like an overall basis first?
Imagine you know nothing about Shaman in TBC. You know literally nothing. Most people are pretty unfamiliar with all this stuff because it's been a while. What would you say to a new Shaman player in TBC, like your new recruit in your Shaman deep dive or whatever?
Every one of your specs is needed in a raid. We cannot say that for vanilla. Okay. You don't need an elemental shaman or enhancement shaman to succeed in vanilla. You absolutely do not. However, if you want to provide your raid with the best possible buffs, I highly suggest having one enhancement shaman, one elemental shaman, and then the rest of Resto. That means that if you have a job if you are one of those specs. That's huge. We did not have that back in vanilla. As far as PvP is concerned, we're not great, but we're not bad either. Resto actually has a place in PvP and TBC, unlike in vanilla. Every shaman worth their weight's going early. Resto, no one's doing full Resto, but Resto actually has a place in TBC in Arena and in Battlegrounds. We have a lot of burst potential, and we have a lot of great dungeon DPS, and then actually Shaman in early game are out DPS, can potentially out DPS every class in the game, but things drop off.
Whoa, say that again?
Early on, I'm talking about like Karazhan, stuff like that. Shamans can top DPS meters, no problem at all. Elemental Shaman.
That is extremely amazing news for everybody that wants to chase the Elemental Shaman dream then, right?
It'll drop off. You're going to be beaten by rogues, warlocks, and mages as the game progresses, but you're always going to be middle of the pack to upper third if you know what you're doing, and if you get lucky with crits, which is a huge thing for us, is elemental. Enhancement's going to be middle of the road pretty much the entire expansion. You might also be the lowest parts of DPS meters. However, you are providing yourself. Now there are shaman out there that do enhanced shaman that do very well.
My roommate,
and you can do that.
Back in the day, played a shaman in TBC named Kyuzo. He was from Japan. Shout out to Michi.
Yeah.
And he was amazing on enhancement shaman back in TBC.
You can be good. You can be good. It requires a lot more micromanagement and knowing your spec better. But most enhancement shaman are going to be middle of the pack to the bottom third of the pack.
I see.
But doesn't mean that you aren't needed because of the buffs you bring to your melee group. So that other shamans don't have. Back in vanilla,
Wind Fury's nerfed though, right? In TBC,
it is nerfed. Your personal Wind Fury is nerfed. It's a 3 second internal cooldown. It also for Wind Fury Totem, but in vanilla, you could bring a Resto Shaman in a melee group, and you would provide the same benefits. No longer. You need an enhancement shaman because of the talents we have. So.
And you get a Wind Fury on both weapons if you dual wield, right?
Yeah. You put Wind Fury on both weapons for maximum DPS and raids. Yeah. So we're in a much better place than we were in vanilla. Let's put it that way.
Yo,
I think
That's the TLDR.
Shaman is probably the most needed class in raids. Because you basically want one in every group, right? You want.
Oh, and Bloodlust. How did I fucking forget?
Yeah,
Bloodlust and Heroism. You're going to need 5 Shaman.
Yeah,
Heroism,
I
what
think
is that?
you said you want 3 Restos. I always thought you want 1 enhancement, 2 elementals, 2 Restos. So
You could do that too. You could definitely do that. I mean, that's great for me because
there's
that's
two words right
for
here
me.
over this talent that I'm hovering over right now. This is pretty sick though, right? Dual wield, right? Isn't that pretty fucking hype?
It is, but I want to announce right
actually
now
like
on
it?
GMA.
yeah.
It does provide more DPS, but I don't like if I look at it from a class standard perspective. No, because I feel like it wrote
Same.
more.
Exactly. I
worried.
thought you were going to say that. Exactly what I think. Yeah.
However, I want to announce on GMA right now that I'm going full elemental shaman.
Full
Yeah!
elemental.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, elemental is amazing.
Can you off heal pretty well as all elemental too? You think?
Yes.
Yes.
Not as good as a full Resto, obviously, but if in a situation you can definitely help. Yeah.
Talk about them totems, Melderon. What totems you got as elemental?
Let's start. Let's Kargoz pilot this.
Well,
I wanted to ask
let's
you
look at
questions.
the end talents, right? Isn't that one of the juiciest things about the specs? People like to see what the new juicy big D talent is at the end. Thank you very much for the 20 cricks and the tier 1 sub, Sarmonican. Love you both. Congrats on the Thunder Fairy, Sarmonican. Congrats.
You might want to walk through the entire elemental tree. Well, let's do it. Let's do a build because I think it's going to help them understand why that Totem of Wrath is so impactful, and why you're very viable as a DPS or as elemental.
Okay,
I can also talk about enhancement too.
Let me read Totem of Wrath real quick. Then we'll go back because I want to read it. So Totem of Wrath, new totem hype. Summons a Totem of Wrath with 5 health at defeat of the caster. The totem increases the chance to hit and critically hit with spells by 3% to all party members if they are within 20 yards last 2 minutes. Seems alright. Seems decent.
That's huge. 3% crit you're giving to your casters, and that's less hit you have to worry about in the gear itemization.
That's for the party though, right? For the party?
That's for the whole party and yourself. Yeah. So basically, if you have a shaman, if you have a shaman, elemental shaman in your caster group, that's 3% less hit that entire group needs to have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's 3% crit they have to go into. That you having to your warlocks or mages that you're in that group with, mostly warlocks, are not going to have to worry about 3% hit right there off the bat. That makes a lot of more room in itemization. Now later in the game, unfortunately, hit is going to be you're going to get hit on Bisque gear. There's nothing you can really do about that. So Totem of Wrath's effectiveness drops off as the expansion matures. But it's still very, very good for your own personal stats and for your need in the raid. But we also have another totem that I didn't talk about that's not a talent that provides 101 spell power to your entire party. It's called Wrath of Air Totem.
Oh, I'll pull it up.
Good,
I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
Wrath of Air Totem.
That's a new totem we got.
New totem, Wrath of Air. So, as an elemental shaman in vanilla right now, what would you be using in the fire totem slot? Like nothing, like a searing.
Nothing.
Like so this fills in the void a little bit then.
Yeah, you would use
Maybe
Searing
an
Totem if you were in range, but you're never in that close to the boss. You can go in and do totem weaving, like Tamaka does stuff like that. He's the #1 elemental shaman in the world right now. But yeah, most shaman will not be totem weaving fire.
I see. So here it is, Wrath of Air Totem. 101 damage and healing.
And healing, right.
Yeah.
So good.
That's nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And what's the spell called that copies your...
Oh, we'll get to that when we do the talents.
Yeah.
If you want
Is
to do
there
a
anything
talent,
flashy and juicy, though, that elemental shamans can look forward to? Come here, maybe an AoE
Do you want to do the
ability.
talents?
Yeah, I mean, we can go to the talents.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like our AoE ability is our lacking.
Let's go
thing.
lightning quick
targets.
through the talents. Lightning quick through the talents. We'll try to...
Okay, you're going to put 5... Tier 1, 5 in both. You're
Okay.
in Tier 1.
All right, so
that's easy.
Similar
That's
to
increased.
vanilla.
Yeah, increased in lower mana cost and higher power. You're going to put 3 points in elemental warding because there are elemental damage that comes out. You're going to put 1 point in clear casting. Now, highlight over clear casting there. That is a 40... So that's... The next 2 spells have a 40% reduction in mana cost. Okay, that's different from vanilla.
Different from vanilla. That sounds worse.
Yeah, it's not worse because you can keep refreshing it. It stays up, and your lightning overloads will refresh this at no additional mana cost.
And it's when you get a crit, Kargoz, not randomly.
It's not
whenever you
random.
crit.
Yeah.
Whenever you crit.
Oh, that's way better. That's
And when you have a ton of crit,
you can keep this up its entire fight.
Because what is it in vanilla? 10%?
It's a 10% chance on cast.
Okay, but this is just whenever you crit, you get it. Wow.
Yeah, so you dictate how often it procs.
Mm-hmm.
Based on your itemization. So where are you now? So you're there. So you're going to put 1 point. So you're going to put 5 points into. Sorry, I'm looking at your screen. Call of Thunder increases the critical chance of your lightning bolt, chain lightning spells by 6%. You obviously want to get that, and you should have put. So is next tier open? No,
Yeah,
is the next tier?
Next tier's open. Yeah, we buy the storm.
All right. Oh no! You want to put 1 point reverberation. We go to the next tier below that.
Oh, okay. 1 point reverberation. There we go. The next tier's open.
You're going to put Storm's Reach because there's a lot of fights that require you to move around, including Prince Malkazar.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put 1 point in Elemental Fury. That's a 100% increase to your. So that's more crit damage. So instead of 50%, it's 100%. You're going to put 3 points Unrelenting Storm. That's 6. So that will be 6% of your total intellect every 5 seconds. Will regenerate while casting.
Oh, it's pretty interesting. Usually this is based on a spirit function or something when they have these talents, right? They'll say, like, get 10% of your spirit. This is 6% of your intellect. Very interesting. I wonder if that ends up being pretty good.
It's the only thing you really put in that tier. It's better than nothing, right? 3 points in Elemental Precision. That increases your hit by 6%. And reduces your
and you have the totem as well, so you get 9% hit between this and
you
this?
Get more, you get more, bro. You get more.
And Draenei get even more, right?
Yeah. So
10% hit if you're a Draenei Shaman?
Yeah.
And, hold on, we didn't get the Resto yet.
Okay.
So, Lightning Mastery, that decreases your cast time by 0.5 seconds, and interestingly enough, Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning are already a half-second faster in TBC compared to Vanilla.
It's the same thing in Vanilla. Oh, wait. You're saying they're faster than even in Vanilla?
The base is faster, and then you have another 5.5 seconds taken off.
Okay.
So your lightning bolts will come out in 2 seconds. Your chain lightnings are 1.5 seconds with this talent.
Ooh, that sounds extremely juicy. 1.5 seconds. Wait, no, but it already is though in vanilla because you can War Stomp chain lightning.
Yeah, War Stomp's 2 seconds. So you can chain lightning is 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep. So Elemental Mastery is 1 point, and that gives you a 100% chance to crit on your next spell. And it has a 100% mana reduction. You cannot do the double crit thing in TBC. I already checked it out because they fixed it in the patch notes. You cannot do that.
Oh, okay.
Lightning Overload gives you your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning a 20% chance to cast a second similar spell on the same target at no additional cost and no threat. Here's the best part about this talent.
That's the juiciest thing ever.
Yeah. Here's the best thing about this talent. It can proc Elemental Focus, but it can't take away Elemental Focus. You can double dip with this.
So you're saying you fling a Lightning Bolt out, and it looks like you flung 2 Lightning Bolts out.
Yes, and it does half damage at no additional threat, no additional mana cost. It can proc Elemental Focus, but it cannot remove a stack of Elemental Focus. So you double dip with this guy. This is a huge talent.
You're kind of making Elemental seem so fun right now, dude.
So
you have faster Chain Lightning, fasting Lightning Bolts, and you get these secondary for free Lightning Bolts. So you're just flinging electricity everywhere like a crazy man.
You're a fucking crazy man throwing Lightning Bolts out.
That is hype. And I like this, how they improved the spells instead of adding you another thing that would make it maybe clunkier. They just improved the spells so that they're...
All right, so Totem of Rats, you get another 3% hit, 3% crit. Let's move over to Resto real quick.
This one, I just want to stop for 1 second, though. You know how people say in TBC that these specs feel more complete? Looking at this, it almost looks like Blizzard looked at some of the holes in Elemental Shaman. They'd be like, it kind of feels bad, man. They don't really have a fire totem that an Ellie Shaman can use. They don't really have a spell damage totem type thing. They're filling in some of the holes, right? So I think you're going to experience that with a lot of the specs. It's going to feel more complete because now you have the Totem of Wrath, which is fire.
There's only 2 shortcomings to our class, and I'll go over that. Totem of Wrath is a fire totem, which you will not be using. You would never use a fire totem unless you need a resistance in raiding. So that's huge, and you're providing that to your entire group, not just yourself. Now you're gonna move over to Resto. You're gonna put 5 points into Tidal Focus, reduce the mana cost of your spells. 5 points into Totemic Focus, reduce your mana cost of your totems. 1 point in Totemic Mastery, which increases your totem radius to 30 yards. 3 points in Nature's Guidance for another 3% hit.
No.
Yes.
No. Yep. So let me get this straight. If you're a Draenei Elemental Shaman and you have the 1%, it's 1%, right, for the
Yeah.
So 1 + 3, 4, 7.
You walk into raiding with 13% hit as a Draenei.
What is 13%? How much do you need? Is it the same as vanilla?
You need 16. You need 16. Yes. You need 3 more. That's all you need.
So you only need 6% additional hit. Oh.
And then only 4 if you're a horde. And then the last 5 points go into Tidal Mastery for another 5% crit.
I don't have enough points.
So
I think I fucked it up. Oh wait, no, I need to open it. I need to open it. 1 second.
Improved reincarnation. 1 point in there, just for your honor.
Okay. 5% more crit. Damn.
As a shaman, you walk into raiding if you're horde with 12% without any gear. You walk into raiding with 12% hit, 101 spell power from your totem, and 13% crit from your talents.
Damn.
You walk into raiding with that, okay? And you're providing 3% hit and crit to your raid, and that 101 spell power to your raid. If you're a Janai, you get 14% fucking hit. Or 13% hit, whatever.
Yeah.
You as horde you need 4 from gear, as alliance you need 3 from gear.
Okay.
I think we can easily say that Elemental Shaman is a much better place than it was in Vanilla WoW.
Plus you get Water Shield, right?
And you get Water Shield, which
And
does
Totemic Recall.
Ask me what
Yeah.
my favorite talent is, though, out of everything you just mentioned.
the one that gives 20% chance to free lightning bolts, right?
That's so
The
sick,
lightning
man,
mastery
right?
or
You
lightning
get,
overload,
you're just
whatever it's
casting
called,
normally and you
Yeah.
fling another one out? That's insane. I love that.
There's no user input. You just do it. You just do your normal rotation, and it'll happen.
You just
so
look like a madman. That's so sick. What about these other end game talents? I just want to touch on these before we move on to another class here. So
Yeah,
we have
so
Shamanistic Rage.
Let's give enhancement some love. So the most important thing with enhancement is this Shamanistic Rage. That's basically a mana tide totem every 2 minutes for your shaman.
Reduces all damage taken by 30% and gives your successful melee attacks a chance to regenerate mana equal to 15% of your attack power. So, first of all, it's an oh shit button, and shamans don't really have an oh shit button. This, if you're enhancement, you have some sort of oh shit button. It's like a little shield wall type of thing. But, and what is the cooldown?
So it's great in PvP. It's a 2-minute cooldown, dude.
Oh yeah, that's pretty damn short, man.
So this thing, well, I was fucking with it last night. This thing is basically a mana tide for enhancement. You can go from like 0 mana to like 67% mana with this thing. It depends on how much mana you get per hit, but you can get a shit ton out of this boy. Now, above this is the reason you're being brought into a raid. I mean, well, you also bring Wind Fury Totem and Strength of Earth Totem. Let's not, but any shaman can do that. This is the reason that you're being brought into a raid in the melee group. Unleashed Rage, when you put 5 points into it, 10% increases all parties' attack power by 10% whenever you crit, which you'll be critting a shit ton because of Wind Fury, because you're dual wielding. You're going to be basically providing a constant 10% attack power buff to the entire melee group with this spell.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick, man. You know, visually, Enhancement Shaman looks amazing too. I have to say, just the way everything looks, like
I love when Wind Fury procs, dude.
The flurry proc, is that what it's called when their hands get all
red?
Red. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, Storm Strike has been reduced to 10 seconds instead of 20 seconds. And there's a synergy between enhancement and elemental that's kind of hidden. So every 10 seconds, an enhancement shaman is going to Storm Strike. Okay. And then you have this elemental shaman blowing the boss up with lightning bolts. Every time it storm strikes, you're going to put that debuff on the boss, which is allowed now because the debuff limit is extended.
No debuff cap, guys. Who's hyped for that?
Right.
Who is hyped for no debuff? No, that 16 slot, thing of the past.
Yep. So you're helping the elemental shaman out because you're constantly providing this buff, and then it's boosting the elemental shaman's damage by 20%. So, or balance druid if they're using wrath as well. So this is going to help your melee, also your ranged out. So that's huge. And real quick, Resto doesn't really get. Resto's the least changed.
Earth Shield is flashy though, man. Earth Shield looks really
Shield's
nice.
so good. And I think there is a debuff cap card. It's just really high.
Is there? I thought there's no debuff cap.
It's like 50 or 40 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so basically it doesn't exist then. Yeah. Oh my god! Look who it is in the chat.
Hamster Wheel.
Hamster Wheel. You know, I've been shilling you so hard, Hamster Wheel. I swear, Scouts on there, polygraph test me right now. You know, if I'm lying, let me get Corona. Hamster Wheel has the biggest body of TBC content out there right now. He's an absolute OG TBC WoW player. If you have any questions about TBC and you want to hear it from the source, I'll go right to Hamster Wheel.
I love your Shakanin videos, dude. I can't wait to talk about Shakanin. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shakanin.
I actually use him as a source.
Shakanin's amazing.
Honest. Yeah.
TBC, isn't it? Like Dunedain? I want to do it so bad.
Oh my god, it's something I want to try out. But yeah.
Dude, Hamster Wheel here blessing us with the TBC momentum here. Oh man, we got to do some stuff with Hamster Wheel with regard to this, dude.
Dude, I would love to have Hamster Wheel on here one time.
You know, Orkbit started streaming it too.
For sure.
Anybody remember Orkbit?
Orkbit started streaming again?
Yeah, well, I forgot what his intro was. He had like the Hey guys,
Orkbit here.
Orkbit
guys,
yeah.
I love
here.
Orkbit and Hamster was some of my favorite people, dude.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Some of the absolute OGs, and he started streaming again. You love to see it. So, anyway, Shamanistic Rage looks really good. This Unleash Rage, Earthshield's pretty flashy though. It looks cool. You know, you put it on your target.
It's really good. It's really good. I mean, like you put that up, and that's basically mindless. It's healing. It's a reflective healing buff, which is the only reflective healing buff in the game. A pre-shield is not reflective, right? It just does whatever damage comes off.
Yeah.
This is reactive, so it's huge. And so another awesome thing is improved chain heal right above that. Kargoz is not right above to the right.
Yeah,
That's the tier 2 3-piece bonus from vanilla that you keep the entire game. You get that now as a talent.
20% more healing on chain heal. That's juicy. Resto Shaman just looks so amazing RP wise. You throw up the Earth Shield, it's type of thing, man.
Yeah.
When whoever has Earth Shield on them, it's so strong that you almost don't want to kill that target anymore. You want to switch targets and try to attack the guy that does not have Earth Shield because that shit is so strong.
Do we know how much Melderon, how much of spell power Earth Shield gets?
So I've been doing some tests. Earth Shield's really fucking wonky. It seems to be the coefficient is reducing with spell power. So the less spell power you have, the higher the coefficient. The more spell power you have, the less the coefficient, which kind of makes sense because that would make it super powerful. So I'm going to keep testing it, but remember, I'm using a read pack. Don't take anything I talk about coefficients as Bible right now because they're probably going to get modified when the beta comes out.
Yeah,
okay?
and real quick,
so
I just want to reiterate because a lot of people were asking. They said, "Is TBC confirmed? Is this confirmed?" Guys, we haven't heard anything like 100% yet, but we're all basing this off of the
poll.
What's it called?
And it's pretty obvious. And BlizzCon last year, they said they're not opposed to doing it. They just want to do it correctly. They're going to do it, guys.
So it's pretty much going to happen, but they just haven't officially come out with it yet. They're probably waiting for BlizzCon to announce it.
Let me read Earth Shield real quick, because look how juicy it is. Even the tooltip just looks amazing. Protects the target with an earthen shield, giving a 30% chance of ignoring spell interruption when damaged. I think people forget about that aspect. And causing melee attacks to heal the shielded target for 150. This effect can only occur once every few seconds, so it's kind of like a lightning shield in that sense. 10 charges, last 10 minutes.
Well,
and there's no cooldown on it too, right? As soon as it's off, you put it back on.
There's no cooldown. But it's only 6 charges. This talent calculator is actually old. And it was nerfed, so it's only 6 charges in 2.4.3. This talent actually all the talent calculators that are available are shit for TBC. So don't go with this Bible. You have to check the change log in the patch notes because things were changed big time. So be very careful what talent calculators you guys are looking at online. Just to give you a heads up.
This is one of the most satisfying buffs to put on someone, though. You put Earth Shield on.
I love the sound of it too, man. The sound of that and Water Shield. Also, Totemic Recall, so no Melderon with his totems.
Oh,
Totemic Recall, dude. We get to remove our totems and you get 25% of what the cost was to put them down. Back.
That's
so that's huge. Also, real quick, Resto gets some PvP love as well. Focused Mind. It's the one outside there, but with the guy's head or whatever. Reduces the duration of any silence or interrupt effects used against the Shaman. That's huge. That's for PvP. And Nature's Guardian. Whenever a damaging attack is taken that reduces you below 30% health, you have a 10% chance to heal 10% of your total health and reduce threat, which is the PvE portion of that, but that's mostly a PvP talent, in my opinion. So, Focus Mind and Nature's Guardian are 2 of the PvP talents we get as Resto. So something to keep.
Let's look at their tier sets real quick.
You have done an amazing job of making me think Shaman is so hype in TBC.
It's so good.
For those of you who are Alliance players out there, obviously you guys know this, right? But if you're Alliance, you can play Shaman now, right?
There are actually many people in our guild that are really interested in Shaman, and I think it's because you were not able to play it that it's like it's something extra, you know. I would probably have liked it to not bring Shamans to Alliance and vice versa, but they did it, and it's kind of fun in a way too. So
absolutely. All right, let's take a look at the tier sets.
So just keep in mind that basically TLDR Shaman are much better based than it was in vanilla. You're still a very, very integral buffer, either melee or spell. And that's your job. You're a disruptor in PvP and you're a buffer in PvE. That's something you just have to keep in mind.
I see. Can they slap as hard in vanilla though? I wonder. We have to see. Like in terms of PvP, because in vanilla, like they just erase people. Part of me thinks that they maybe.
Well, two-hander meta still exists for PvP, so keep that in mind. So
Ellie's still good.
Two-hander's not dead. Two-hander's not dead. I'm not saying that every PvPer is going to be using two-handers.
I'm saying Ellie, bro. I'm saying Ellie. Like,
Ellie's still blowing shit the fuck up.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Also,
that hasn't
can I say this? When you put 2 points in improved Ghost Wolf, it now becomes an instant cast.
Yes.
So
Actually,
a lot of people sleep on just. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, Resto Druid." Resto Shaman is actually really good. There's some really good 2v2 teams that I went up against back in the day. I remember Resto Ret being a really dangerous combo. Resto Shaman Ret Pally. Basically, you pop Bloodlust, you pop Wings, you pop your PvP Trinket, and you one-shot people.
Wouldn't it be Shokadin then in that case?
Oh no, Resto Ret was a really strong 2v2 team. Yeah.
Let's see which one, if we can find out which one is the Shaman set here. So it's not this.
Tier 5.
Gotta
it's the third one from the right.
Yeah, right here. This is looking. Ooh, they all look amazing. What?
Tier 5 so good.
I love Tier 5 and Tier 6 though. Yeah.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10
all.
out of 10. Call it a ding dong day. What's my favorite though?
You like Tier 4? You like Tier 4?
Dude, comparatively to the other ones,
Tier
dude?
4 is decent.
It's decent.
Yeah. I have 10 reserved for Priest Tier 5, but I give Tier 5 8.5 and Tier 6 9.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't on a
Tier
Dreadnought.
4
But yeah.
Tier 4 is like
I was gonna say the same thing.
6.5.
6.5? I mean, let's look at the tier
Yeah.
4s though. So Druid kind of looks 1 out of 10. Hunter's
good.
looks alright.
Yeah.
Just hide the helm. That's what I'm.
Hunter's really, I think Hunter Tier 4.
I love the Hunter Tier 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I like it too.
Mage one looks pretty maggotsy, I gotta say. It looks pretty nice. I think it's clean.
Yeah.
Paladin, they always make him look like goddamn Power Rangers, bro. I don't know.
I feel like this is a Draenei Paladin set.
That is
rather
true.
than
He looks like the guy in
Priest
cinematic.
is meh.
True.
Mm-hmm. On a Draenei, it's probably really cool, but on a human, it's like low.
Yeah.
Priest, how do you feel about Priest, Defcamp? 4.
No, definitely the worst out of the 3.
The rogue one though looks like freaking Robin from Batman and Robin.
It does. It does.
Let's just say Tier 5 Rogue is the best tier set like ever, and just leave it at that.
Nah, tier 6 looks so sick too though.
Oh, I love Tier 5.
Anyway, I think the Shaman ones all look pretty good. They look Shaman-y to me. This one looks more like Resto at the top. The
So,
middle one
yes.
looks like in Elemental, and then the bottom one looks neutral.
Well, I think the middle one is more enhancement, and the bottom one's more elemental. If I was going to say which one looks more like the spec,
Yeah.
but remember, Tier 5 Cataclysm, not those shoulders move like it's like magma, and it's like moving around like plates and shit and fire. It's
so
really cool.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sick.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What's your favorite one, Melderon, out of these 3?
Tier 5 Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
I think Tier 6 is nice too, though. I really
Tier 5
do.
is my favorite Shaman tier of any expansion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tier
Oh
5.
wow. Okay.
I love the Tier 4 lock though. I love that. Tier
That's
5
it.
too.
So, Tier
Yeah.
4 look.
All right.
I love the helmet. Yeah.
I think
like a
my
Void
favorite
Walker.
Tier 4, and it's probably weird, but I like the Warrior one the most. I think. From
Really?
Tier 4.
Yeah, Warrior
Yeah,
looks
I
pretty
do.
sick. I gotta say. Yeah.
I love Tier 6 Warrior. I think, especially with the wall of what the fuck's it called? The one for Black Temple. The wall of what the hell is that shield called, Melderon?
Oh, Bulwark of Azeroth?
Bulwark of Azeroth. Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
that thing is so good.
Real
Yeah.
quick though, chat. What is your vote for the least favorite one? We're not gonna say worst. Out of all of these that you're looking at right now, chat, which
All the
one
tier sets?
does it for you the least? Out of all of these tier sets, this is it, right?
Tier
4,
5,
and
Tier
6.
5 Paladin for me. Tier 5 Paladin.
Druid Dunedain is personally
Go, go,
offended.
Power Ranger!
That is literally a Power Ranger.
It's not a very good set, but Tier 6 Paladin makes up for.
Yeah, Tier 6 Paladin
Yeah,
is very
Tier
nice.
6 Paladin's amazing.
I'm kind of torn. Let's take a look
no.
here. Let's take a look here. Least favorite.
I don't really like the Tier 5 Mage set. I think that's a little bit.
Yeah, Tier 5 Mage is pretty cool, actually.
I'm not even looking at chat right now. I swear I'm not. So I actually don't know if anyone typed this, but I think for me it's got to be Tier 4 Rogue.
Really.
Tier 4 Rogue looks so scuffed, man.
It actually looks really. Sometimes, like, things on humans make it look worse, you know what I mean? Like, Tier 4 Priest looks so bad on a human, but it's not that bad on undead. For whatever reason.
Yeah, it could be Druid too, though. The Tier 4 Druid looks. Yeah.
I usually kind of feel like humans are the most vanilla style to show armor sets on stuff.
I hate, like, I think Tier 5 looks so much better on other classes, the Priest.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it looks awesome on Undead.
I think it's awesome on anything, but
I love how
yeah,
it looks on Undead.
on Undead,
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Humans do kind of look goofy though. Yeah, I hear you.
However, tier 6 warrior looks really good on human.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's vote for the best one now. Actual best armor set in all of TBC.
Oh, this is hard.
I think it's gonna have to be tier 5 rogue or
Me too, dude.
tier 5 warlock. Tier 5 warlock.
Tier 5 rogue for me, bro, because I had that set and
cool.
I vote
Tier 5
priest
rogue.
tier 5, but I think paladin tiers, but that's personal. Obviously,
Yeah.
paladin tier 6 is close second.
So tier 6 shaman looks amazing on Tarn.
Yes, I can see that definitely.
Yeah, just saying. That's
Well, so
Pretty good
flashiest
too.
armor sets are probably going to be number 1 is the warlock one though, right? Be honest here. He actually has wings come out of his helmet. If you guys remember.
Yeah.
that.
I have wings
Huge
too on
wings.
tier 5 priest. Come on.
No,
Yes,
but you don't
no.
have animated wings.
Yeah.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
still, tier 5 priest I think is just. Is
And then number 2 is got to be eyeball hunter. Eyeball hunter.
Eyeball
for
hunter?
flashiest. Eyeball hunter is pretty. It's not my favorite. I'm just saying for flashiest.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
flashiest. Honestly, I think it's between paladin and priest for flashiest.
Think
Tier
so?
5 priest and tier 6 paladin.
So
Dude, tier 5 rogue and an undead, dude.
It's
Oh
the
my
best
God.
thing in the world.
It's
it really
so
is.
good.
all right. So
And tier 5
what is
warlock.
your final vote? Favorite, coolest looking armor set. We have to pick one.
Pick
Coolest.
one. I'm gonna go tier 5 warlock. Tier 5
Tier
warlock.
5 priest, then
Tier 5 rogue.
I think I
all
might.
different.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with tier 6 warrior.
Nice.
Tier 6 warrior is really nice too, especially
I
the
love
Bulwark of
tier
Azeroth.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tier 6
Yeah.
warrior with bulwark of Azeroth, and what else would be using like a warglaive in the main hand or some shit? I don't know. It
Yeah, you
looks,
could have
yeah.
warglaive. Yeah.
looks so sick, man. But the second
yeah,
place for
dude.
me is the tier 5 warlock. It just looks incredible. I gotta say.
Yeah. Oh my god, I want to play BC so bad.
Getting there. Oh, we didn't have arena
I can't wait
sets.
to talk about
True,
these
true.
other classes, dude. But we got
Brutal Glad, all the the gladiator sets look sick.
Yeah, they're just recolors. Of
That's
that,
my favorite
basically.
paladin set. I gotta say the PvP paladin set looks.
Which one? The vengeful?
The brutal. I don't know. I like the brutal one.
Brutal. Yeah.
Did you put them up or?
I don't know if I can
It's
find
not-
them in a pinch.
Okay.
Let's move on to paladin though. Speaking of paladin, since Dunedain was second on the thing, let's try to get a little bit of a paladin hype discussion going for this.
Okay, sure. Maybe put up the talent trees just for the fun of it. So
Assume everyone
Paladin.
knows nothing about paladin and TBC. Sorry to keep cutting you off on that.
paladin, but if what I usually do if I choose a class is just go over talent trees and look at all the different kind of specs that you can do, and then paladin really jumps out for me. So right now, paladin is probably 99% sure going to be my class. I like I said, all 3 specs of them, but I'm really interested in protection and retribution because you cannot really play them in vanilla. I think that's the main reason, because holy is still amazing. Maybe we can first go a little bit over the new things they get, which are actually making them viable. So one of the big things is spiritual attunement, which is a passive ability where you get mana when you get healed. So if you take damage and you get healed, you get a percentage from your mana back, which makes, for example, protection paladins kind of viable already, even though Hound is also a big one there. But just the ability to get your mana back and don't go in long fights is really important.
I have it up right here. So it says a passive ability that gives the paladin mana when healed by other friendly target spells. The amount of mana gained is equal to 10% of the. So this is something that all paladins, all specs get?
Yeah, it's a holy spell, but other than that, all specs get it. So every paladin has it. So for protection, it's huge, but also for retribution on the hard side, at least, it's huge because it has an interesting. How do you put it? An interesting synergy with the new seal they get, being Seal of Blood. Maybe you can put that up too. So Horde and Alliance get different new seals, and the Horde one is way better actually for DPS purposes. It's called Seal of Blood, and what it does is it just gives a lot. Seal of Blood, it should be. Not sure, you'll probably find it. But anyway, it gives it does a high amount of damage, but at the same time it also damages yourself. So the part where it damages yourself, I think it was supposed to be to make it balanced, because the seal actually does quite a bit of damage, and then because you're a blood knight, so it fits the fantasy. You deal damage to yourself because you do so much damage to the enemy. But in the end, it actually, because of the move we just discussed, the spiritual attunement, it's actually good that you damage yourself, because now you get heals because you do damage on yourself, and because you get heals, you get your mana back, so you can keep spamming Seal of Blood and Judgment and Crusader Strike and all those things. So it's actually a bonus that you lose health.
Yeah.
So that's really, really great. It makes Blood Elf Paladins one of the better DPS in TBC, really. And on top of that, you have like buffs to your party with that's in the talent trees then. Buffs with critical strike in your auras and stuff like that. So you bring a lot of utility to your party. On top of that, you have some really good DPS. So I think like on Horde side, you can probably bring 2 Red Paladins, but one is more likely. And on Alliance side, you may ask then what you do there. You have a different seal.
Seal of Vengeance, right?
Seal of Vengeance, indeed. It's I remember when TBC first came out, Seal of Vengeance, oh, this is the best seal because you don't hurt yourself. But as time went on, Seal of Blood definitely was a lot better. So Seal of Vengeance is decent, but it's mainly a tanking seal in my opinion. It still does quite a lot of damage. It's like a stack effect where if you attack, there's a chance you have the damage over time effect on your target, so it can stack up to 5 times. So
people see this is a big issue. Seal of Blood and Seal of Vengeance, they say like Horde is OP because they have Seal of Blood, but if Seal of Vengeance is better for tanking, it kind of actually makes a lot of sense. Drain Eyes are better tanks, and if you want to be like a tank Paladin, Prot Paladin tank, you go Drain Eye, and if you want to do DPS, max DPS, you go Blood Elf. I mean, I feel like Blood Elf Paladin is like the flavor of the month. It's like the Demon Hunter of TBC. I don't know if you guys agree. It's like the cliche. Like I feel like half the people in the chat are gonna play Blood Elf Paladin.
You're absolutely right.
From a fancy point of view, it makes a lot of sense, and I really like actually 2 different spells because it still has that Horde Alliance feel to it. And Paladins on Horde side, or I call them Blood Knights. It's not really Paladins, right? Paladins are Alliance, and Blood Knights are Horde. So it's the same class, but it's kind of different, and I like that a lot.
I kind of wish, I hate to interrupt the Paladin thing, but I kind of wish they did something similar with Shaman. I wish they had a separate, like a little bit of a tweak for Horde and Alliance, but they didn't do that, and it pissed me off. But
that's true. I always hope the same, but like you say, they didn't. Now you can still do some good DPS as an Alliance Paladin too, because there's other things like Avenging Rat, the thing that gives you wings, so that's a huge one, and also you have Crusader Strike, but that's a talent, so we get to
so
that
good.
soon.
I just remember this being one of the flashiest things when you first saw it, guys. Crusader Strike, who remembers this?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I literally said to my friend, saw it together, I said, well, Paladins actually just get another attack, so it might double their damage. They might actually become good, and it turns out they became good damage dealers. So it's a huge move. Crusader Strike, basically just doing your weapon damage like 110% set. So and refresh. I don't know if the refreshes all judgments was there from the beginning. Probably, I can't remember really, but probably it was in the last patch. So that's a huge one. Avenging Rat on top of that makes even Alliance Paladins a kind of decent damage dealers in raids. So because they bring a lot of utility, you can still bring 1 Retribution Paladin on Alliance side as well. Just you will probably not be on top of the parses if that's what you're after, if you have a Seal of Blood on Horde side. So that's basically Retribution in a nutshell, I would say. There's an interesting aura, by the way. You get Crusader aura, which increases your mount speed, so you become the fastest travelers in the world. And it works on flying mounts too, so that's you can actually, I think if you have Gladiator Dragon, you have 300% speed, isn't that? So with this aura, you have.
Isn't Gladiator 310?
It's 280. It's 280.
Oh, okay. So
anyway, this gets you to the highest speed you can possibly get. So it's kind of nice in PvP.
These are one of those abilities that you get super jelly watching a paladin walk by you on, though, right? It's one of those you just see. Why is he moving so fast? Why did he get all the freaking herbs, man? Because of this right here, dude. Crusader aura.
I'm trying to think. There's one really interesting move on the end of the protection tree too, but I think we're kind of done with Retribution, so it's not that auto-attacking class anymore. It still has the main aspect with the Judgments and the Seals, which I really enjoy. And I used to play around with it. Even though I made Priest, I still loved my Paladin and tried things on the damage meters and stuff to see which shield was best in which circumstance.
This is my favorite Paladin ability right now I have up.
That one. That was the one in Protection.
Avenger Shield, oh my god.
Holy Frisbee, boys. One of the flashiest abilities. Top 5 of all time, probably. I don't know.
And it even though it doesn't seem like it turned out it's really good in PvP too. Because it does quite a lot of damage and it dazes and stuff, but you can actually use it as some kind of burst damage in PvP if you want. So that's something to try out. I didn't really try it out in the Burning Crusade itself. I did play a little bit with Protection back then, but not quite a lot near the end. But in the Wrath of the Lich King, I actually tried to use it some more, and in PvP used it to kill a lot of people in Arena actually. So I'm really eager to test it out in TBC as well, see if it's viable in TBC too. But anyway, Protection Paladins, they are probably the biggest meme classic, and they aren't anymore in the Burning Crusade. They are still not the best main tanks. They actually aren't main tanking at all. They're really good off tanks though. It's the best AoE tank that there is. And
they do have taunt though now, right? Hard taunt?
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's usable in raids. The taunt is called Righteous Defense, but it's basically just a taunt. It's probably some kind of AoE taunt. I don't really remember correctly, but the thing is, it's kind of good to have a Protection Paladin raid. It's not necessary. You can do it with warriors. You can do it with a druid, and you probably cannot tank all the bosses with Protection. At least it's not optimal, but it's really good to have them for AoE pools.
The Paladin tooltips just look so nice too, man. Look at this beautiful tier 2 shoulder here. 15-second cooldown, commands 3 enemies to attack the target instead of attack the Paladin. I know a lot of people, I actually forgot this, guys. So you have a 15-second cooldown taunt on 3 targets.
Yep.
Isn't that hype?
Mm-hmm. I actually forgot it was 3 enemy targets, but that's kind of great indeed. But I feel like taunt is one thing, but many bosses are untauntable. So I feel like the what's it called, the talent or the move that gives you mana when you get healed. I think that's the most important spiritual attunement one we started with. I think that's the thing that makes Protection Paladins viable in TBC, because you don't run out of mana anymore and you can keep pulling. This one is great, don't get me wrong, but it's less great than the mana you get back. But what I really look forward to is trying out Protection Paladins in raids. See if I can main tank some kind of bosses there too. Probably.
I just want to do heroics, dude. I just want to have a prop pally sitting around, dude.
The best thing is how the gear looks. I feel Prot Paladins. I mean, they are the fantasy of Paladin. Protection is like I'm protecting the weaker around me. So Protection is really that's what you want.
That's the class fantasy that appeals most to me, man. If I play Paladin, I really want to make. That's why my Paladin right now, level 60, is a Prot Pally. I love Prot Pally, man. This is so exciting that in TBC.
I'm making one too, dude. I'm making one in BC. Absolutely.
Blood Elf, man. Blood Elf Paladin.
I'm torn between Red and Protection right now. I really like both. Protection is cool in raids and stuff, but if you want to do arena, you probably want to be
holy, man.
I'm not going to be holy. I decided on that. This is the expansion, or if TBC comes out, it's the expansion where I'm not gonna heal.
Okay.
So I healed a lot in my life, and I want to try something else.
Too.
How good is this Divine Illumination, man? Reduces the mana cost of all spells by 50% 15 seconds. Is there a huge cooldown on this? It almost seems...
So Holy is actually it's really good still, but where Paladins were the top-notch healers in Classic, in TBC it's all a little bit more balanced, and Paladins really start to excel in one specific role now, which is main tank healing, or single target healing, I should say. That's how I felt about it, at least. It's been a long time, but I feel like Shamans and Resto Druids, they kind of pick up the raid healing, and Paladins just merely focus on putting out some high amount of heals on one target. So they get tools to improve that, like the last talent, Final Illumination. They get even more mana efficient, so you don't go like ever, and you can still spam Flash of Light. But it's basically still a Flash of Light. But no, it's not. It's now it turned to Holy Light spam. But it's basically the same thing, because you have a talent which reduces the cast time, I think, of Holy Light. Yeah. So once you cast one Holy Light, the cast time is reduced, and then what you do is you do the same thing as you do in vanilla, but now you do it with Holy Light, and it's still a fast cast, but the output is higher. And you can use Divine Illumination now to still have that same mana efficiency as you had. I don't know exactly what the cooldown is, though. It's not in the tip. And
let me see if I can find it for Divine Illumination.
It's 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like so many people want to. The TBC just does a lot for Pallies in the sense of people can play them how they always wanted to play them, kind of in the sense like some people can finally go prot and tank serviceably well and be respected, and then Ret Pallies. I don't think they're going to be the actual top DPS, but they probably bring some utility too, and
Well,
can
on Horde side they might be, though. On Horde side, Red Paladins, they really hit some high DPS with certain gear. So probably not always, but they are up there. But the thing is, if you look at Paladin, and that's really why I want to play it, all three tiers all three specs are so unique and so different from each other, and they all fill a niche in their respective role. The main tank healing is no one does it better than Paladin, and the AoE tanking, it's like the only class that can do that. Then you have Retribution, which now is suddenly becoming like the only DPS spec in game which actually uses two-handed weapons, because Fury Warriors use one-handers and Shamans use one-handers, so you have the occasional Arms Warrior, which is still viable.
That's a really good point. So you get Gorehowl as Red Pally from. That's sick, man. That's so sick.
I think
past tier 5,
super unique.
Some warriors do go two-hander, but yeah, that's a good point.
And that's really interests me. It's still the same base. You still have the buffs, you have the blessings, you have the RS, you have seals, you have more seals even for RS. But on top of that, everything is viable now, and everything has its own place in the game, and it's too good to pass on. I really like to play hunters, but if I look at this, it's too good to pass on what Paladin's becoming in BC.
Can I ask you, do you plan on PvPing in BC as Paladin at all?
Yes, and I know Storm Herald is a thing, so the blacksmith weapon you can craft a mace.
That thing is actually OP in your blacksmith.
Yeah, I'm an armor.
I gotta pull it up.
So I will have to re-roll that.
This is the stun mace, right? Remember this?
Yeah, it's Storm Herald. It's called.
Look at this, boys, in the chat. Storm Herald.
But I think I don't remember if you can actually re-roll your blacksmith specialization in TBC. If not, I will have to do it from scratch. But it's something I really want to go for. It's the best weapon in PvP, and maybe on the blacksmithing thing, the weapons you can craft with blacksmithing, they stay best in slot through TBC for certain things. For example, this for PvP, but I think is it the axe or is it the sword? I think it's the best in slot weapon through TBC, or at least up to a certain point in TBC. So professions really are important there for certain classes.
So one thing I'm really excited for, and so I want to make my Paladin. I kind of like prot, tank, and also PvP, but I am a huge. I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I am a huge fan of Shakadins in BC. Basically, what you do is you pop Avenging Wrath, right? You pop Divine Favor, which it gives your next chance for Holy Shock to be 100% crit. So you pop Avenging Wrath, Divine Favor, whatever other trinkets you have, anything like that. You pop it all at once. Holy Shock, Judge, and you can literally one-shot people. It's so much damage you can do. So you can be this defensive guy who's out there healing, and then all of a sudden pop Avenging Wrath and just mutilate and destroy someone.
So you're saying as a Holy Pally, you could just be raid spec Holy Pally and still have a nice little combo with your...
here's the thing, Holy, and dude, I'm sure you can act more of this, but there's a lot of really cool things in Holy that's good for PvP as well. like Blessed Life, all attacks against you have a 10% chance to cause half damage.
Ooh, yeah, that's juicy.
Huge. That's so amazing right
juicy.
there. But yeah, a lot of the there's just so many really good things in the Holy Tree. But like that Avenging Wrath, damage that you get from Holy Shock is just. I mean, yeah, even if you're not 100% like geared for the spell damage or whatever, even if you're just geared out with holy damage, you can still do a ton of damage with Holy Shock and doing Shocking it.
Avenging Wrath is the wings, right?
Yes, Avenging Wrath is wings, and then remember you have the hammer, right? So say you Holy Shock, Judge, and then finish them off with the with your Hammer of Wrath. So you can just, I mean, I've seen Holy Shocks crit for an obscene amount of damage, like 3-4K. Of people with the buffs, with like crazy buffs, stuff like that. So it's definitely possible to literally one shot somebody. Oh well, 3 shots and whatever. But another thing, and like when I used to do twos, one of the 2v2, and this was a rare sight sometimes when you see this combo, and it was some of the most burst potential I've ever seen. But basically, I was talking about this when we were talking about Shaman. It was Resto Shaman, right? So what you would do is you would basically start working on the priest, or they would go back and forth, and then all you hear is row, row, row. So the Shaman pops Bloodlust, because you could do Bloodlust in Arena. And then you see wings. So basically, you pop Bloodlust, you pop wings, you pop your PvP trinket, and I have been one shot by Crusader Strike, literally. So you get, and all your white damage, your melee swings are 30% quicker with Bloodlust. So you're just, when I tell you, absolutely just pounding someone. Mm-hmm. If you have a Wind Fury Totem, whatever too, it's just like so much damage in such a short amount of period. That is one of the most explosive damage things that you'll see in Arena sometimes, is a Resto, and a really good, you have Sacrifice, you have Bop, you have all these amazing things, to help each other. So a really like kind of a sleeper and a really good 2v2 team is that Resto combination.
I hear, but I never tried it though, that Shockadins are really, really, really good in PvP.
They are amazing. You can do the same thing kind of as with Shockadin. However, the thing is, like, if you don't kill them in that burst, then you're basically sitting around waiting again for. But with Paladin is you have just so much explosive damage.
Let's think about this. So pretty much all the specs and all the classes and specs have holes that have been filled in from TBC from Classic. So looking at it right off the bat right now, Ret had the issue of not really having a bunch of active abilities. I mean, you could apparently Seal Twist and you could use Judgment on cooldown, stuff like this, but you kind of get that rectified with Crusader Strike. Let's see, on the Prot side, you have Avenger Shield, which is a pulling tool, right? Paladin struggled with pulling, ranged. Avenger Shield, pretty long range, probably like 20, 30 yards at least. And you have a hard taunt, and they're kind of spec'd in the way where they're specialized around AoE type of stuff, because you have an AoE taunt on a 15-second cooldown, you have Avenger Shield, you have Consecrate, all that juicy stuff. Anything else come to mind doing it that like it was missing in vanilla?
I want to say 2 things about this. First, they added things that were missing, but they did it in a way without making classes become less unique, like they did later on. So they added like really unique spells and still managed to fill those gaps. So I think they really did a good job there. And another thing we kind of missed is that talent in Retribution on the second row, improved Seal of the Crusader, which is kind of the rage utility for Paladin. So it gives 3% crit if you judge that on a target, right? So you start with judging that on a target, and then you switch obviously to the other DPS. So that's kind of important talent. And also the one you didn't click, I'm not kind of sure if I think it's important, but I really need to look into it a little more. The Sanctity Aura, the improved one, and that's also a raid, not a raid white buff, but a group white buff. For everyone who's in your group, I believe it does 2% damage.
So it gives everybody a 2% damage increase, and then also improves Seal of the Crusader. It looks like this is both critical for both melee and spell. So both melee and spell crit, and 2% damage bonus. And isn't there some mana restoration aspect someone was saying before as well?
Mana restoration is not for. No, I don't think.
Okay.
Is it though? You obviously still have the same seals. Judgments of those steals that you had before, so you can still use the mana. I forgot the name right now, but the seal which restores mana if you want to.
Mm.
But
yeah,
usually
Seal of
you go
Wisdom,
for
yeah.
the crit. So yeah, Seal of Wisdom easily. Yeah. So yeah, that's Paladins in a nutshell.
Let's take a look at the tier sets, boys. Who's hyped to play Paladin, man? I know there's,
I am, dude. I fucking am.
So many Blood Elf Paladins, man. So many
No,
Blood Elf
it's gonna be a
Paladins
lot.
are going to be coming.
It's gonna be a lot.
It's the flavor of the month. It's the Demon Hunter of TBC, man. More so than Draenei Shaman. Telling you, man. Blood Elf Paladin, half the population. Let's see the Paladin. Which one is? Oh, you said tier 6 is your favorite Dunedain out of these tier sets? What do you guys think?
Yeah. But tier 6 is the thing is, tier 6 is my favorite from an art style, but I feel it's kind of like holy designed. If you see that, you see holy Paladin, while tier 5 and tier 4 they are more like hybrid. They can suit protection. I feel like tier 5, even though it looks kind of weird on the human, it's decent if you put a shield with that. So for a protection Paladin, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I see that too, dude. Yeah, I can see protection there. Yeah.
I actually, weirdly enough, kind of unpopular opinion. I think I'm not sure. I'm not trolling. I think my favorite Paladin set out of these would be the middle one, hiding the head as a Draenei, like a male Draenei Paladin with the middle armor set. It looks the most cohesive to me for some reason. That tier 5. I know that's Melderon's least favorite, but that's different strokes.
Yeah.
It definitely grows on you, I think.
Yeah.
It does, and it's unique in a way. It's like purple plate gear. You don't see that very often. But I really feel they are designed for Draenei, and yeah.
Speaking of purple plate gear, let's get
Let's
some
not
love for the
forget-
purple judgment set.
Yep, the dungeon set.
Yep.
Purple
It's a
Judgment
dungeon set.
What is
There's
it
a
called?
purple.
Good question, but it's literally the judgment set tier 2, and it's purple, and anyone can wear it. That they can wear plate. So warriors and paladins can wear it, but then in TB, but in Wrath, like Death Knights can go back and get it.
It's not that you want to wear it. It's definitely.
No,
good.
it's just a really cool looking set.
I have it on my paladin now.
Gotcha. That's Paladin for you.
It's just
Very exciting, guys. Well, we've been going for a little bit over. We usually go. You guys want to see us continue doing this in the future? Like maybe do another TBC special
we got to talk about priests next time.
We should do the
gotta
next
continue
classes
this.
next. Yeah, we
I'm
should
down.
do more
Yeah,
classes.
there's so much I want to talk about with priests, so let's definitely continue this.
I think we
Super
should
down.
go over all classes, and next time
Yeah.
priest, and then your.
I mean, priest is there's so much amazing things for priest. Let me just say this real quick: holy priest, and I love holy shadow and discipline, but holy priest in TBC is my favorite spec in all of WoW.
Wow.
That's what I played.
All of WoW.
That's heavy.
Was amazing.
I
Circle
mean-
of healing.
I mean, circle of healing, prayer of mending. Just that sound, ching, that prayer of mending sound, like, oh my god. And we'll talk about this next time. But there's so many amazing things. Discipline, even though it's not really that great for arena, I love going in battle downs with reflective shield, having people just 50% of all the damage done to you getting reflected off their shield. So, light. No one takes light well. No one clicks on the friggin' thing. But there's.
I tried to make it viable, I always picked it, and I said, people click it. Come on, click on light well. It's good. Use it.
Yeah, but
It's
Spirit
good.
of Redemption is actually good because it also 5% spirit. So, but we'll talk about that next time. I'm going to talk about Shadow, Holy, and Discipline.
I just want to quickly say, guys, that it is exciting. I really think it's like a 99% chance they do TBC, especially with that survey. And what that means is, guys, we get to hang out a little bit longer. Guys, like after Classic goes through the motions and Nax comes out, everybody in the chat right now, we get to hang out a little bit longer. We get to keep the dream alive just a little bit longer. And like I do want to remind you guys again, maybe it's obvious, but time flies when you're having fun, especially, right? So like, we're going to look back on all these times when Classic and TBC is coming out, especially the hype leading up to it is actually very nostalgic as well, really fondly in the future. So, dude, live it up right now. We still have Classic. We're still, about halfway through. We still got plenty of time to enjoy that. And then we have TBC coming. The dream's going to be alive for a little bit here, guys. So you'll love to see it. You really do. Any closing thoughts, everyone?
Excited. I just want to say this. I am so pumped for TBC. I am so pumped for this game to continue down this is the favorite iteration of my game, so of the game that I love so much. So I just hope that Blizzard does it right. I hope that we can fix the issues with the servers and this and that and going into it. but I really look forward to playing with you guys as well. So I really appreciate